Taking to Spa-Francorchamps, of course, the scene for round 2 of the World Endurance Championship only 48 hours ago. Now plays host to the 5th round of Waste Options Formula 3. And what a night it promises to be. The start of week 5 of term 2 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. The 11th of May, I should say. The 13th is, of course, Wednesday night. I'm in Wednesday night mode for some reason. I'll explain that in just a moment. But it is the 11th of May, 2026, night 1, week 5, term 2. This week, we get to the halfway mark of what's been a frantic season thus far. And our open wheel tin top double header kicks us off on a Monday night. What a week it promises to be. Full night of sprint racing ahead on Thursday, and a little bit of sprint racing sprinkled into our Monday and Wednesday night programmings as well. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Cabe and Daniel Yaming's here alongside me. I'll get to that in a moment as well. These are the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, live, exclusive and free across Facebook and YouTube. There's the settings for the server tonight at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. 7,004 metres this circuit. 24 degrees the current temperature. That's all I'm going to update in a moment once the server ticks over into the race session portion of the night. Aidan Cale, the clear leader of the points table at the moment, 103 points. His advantage over Guy Leach, who's being hounded by his teammate Brett Barker, and Alex Tzickas not too far away either. Just 9 points cover second and fourth, and Braden Zagasa there looming large and reeling them in at a rapid rate of knots on 304 points. 275 for Ryan Jones, 266 for Lockie Purvis, 264 for John Baldwin, 248 for Adam Funslow, and Adam Lavis is there in position number 10 on 232 points. 197 covers the top 10 at the moment. And here I was wondering for a moment whether it was my eyes that needed testing. No, it was just an enlargement for the benefit of the people tuning in at home while the points table changed so quickly there, courtesy of our colleague Dan Yeaman, who is in tonight. So how's this for you, ladies and gentlemen? I got thrown a bit of a bum steer this afternoon. My run sheet said that Adam would be here this evening. Adam Lavis is back on a Monday night. No, not to be. Turned up here about 15 minutes ago, and Mr. Yeaman's in the house, ready to rock and roll. Good evening to you, mate. Open wheelers, Spa, it just seems like a nice fit.
It should hopefully be a very nice fit indeed, folks. And yeah, good to be back here once again for you, and hopefully this means, yes indeed, Adam Lavis is in the session tonight and will be giving himself a fair chance at a steer out on track. And as you can see, he has done so enough times this season to currently sit 10th in the points for our Waste Options Wings and Slicks series this season, which is good to see. I actually need to give him a little correction that we've moved on from SFL at this stage, but nevertheless, that's another time thing. But
that's a very good point. Yes.
I've just realised after all this time, hang on a second, it still says SFL, but we'll worry about that another time.
Waste Options Formula 3, of course. See, that's the funny thing about that is it's even more off-putting because the right logo's there, the wrong writing, the text just needs a little bit of fine-tuning. But yes, it is Formula 3. It's been a fascinating season so far. 2 sprint rounds in, so we're 6 races into the campaign. This is the 3rd of the 30-minute races, though, for you, the 7th race of the season. It will get us to halfway. Have a look at that. I just want everybody to stop and appreciate the server settings for the moment. 7:30 local server time, May 11, 2026, 1 kilometre an hour winds. So it's almost in sync with real world Australian Eastern Standard Time. How good is that? 3 kilometre an hour winds, northerly direction, tending northwesterly, tending northeasterly. It's swinging in roundabouts at the moment. 21 degrees the ambient, 22 on track and partly cloudy conditions, but so far it is dry. Hello, Queensland. That is what daylight looks like after 7 o'clock in the evening. Isn't it a beautiful thing? And they are, of course, heading towards summer over there, which rams home the point even more. Braden Zagasa Road and Carl Front Road, Jet Murray, Jayden Draper the 2nd row, Jonathan Harris, Lockie Purvis the 3rd row, Craig Bond, Alex Tzickas 4th row, Richard King and Mark Heppel from row 5. No Ryan Jones on this grid, so there's a notable absentee from within the top 10 of the points. Matt Distill back on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. That's good to see, alongside Callan Hodgkinson, Adam Funslow, Brett Barker, Adam Lavis, Guy Leach. Take you back to the outside of row 8, row 9, Joel Farley, Bruce White, row 10, John Baldwin and Daniel Correa-Sarr. Row 11, Eduardo Zamora, Pete Matson. Good to catch up with Pistol just before we got going. Kevin Wakefield, Cooper Friend, Patrick Savina, and Mark McNamara take us back to row 13, and Brett Bradbury will round out this field. 30 minutes the journey here, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, as we know, when we go racing for 30 minutes in Formula 3, there will be a compulsory pit stop requirement attached to this race. We are set to rock and roll in Belgium. Monday Night Motorsport is underway. The second one of the month of May. Great start up the outside from Braden Sagasa, who gets the jump on Aidan Cale. A rare instance in which Sagasa has pipped Cale for pole position. Cale has been the dominant force this season in the championship, but Sagasa is on his way in a big way. Last 2 weeks, he's nabbed a race win. He's going out in pursuit of another one tonight. They have bolted early, clear of the rest of the field, up the Camel Straight for the first time. We safely navigate our way through Eau Rouge. There's a couple of stragglers at the back. Let's go. Down the back straight for the first time. Good, smooth, clean run as they fan out. Lots of jockeying for positions now. Bondi there on the inside. Gets himself up in a 5th spot. Relegated to 6th. Is Alex Tzikis in all of that? Trouble, and through the middle comes Jaden Draper. Bondi around the outside. They're 3 wide. Are you kidding me? Up and over goes Jaden Draper. It's going nowhere to the back of the garage via the tow rope. Draper's night is done. And so too is Tzikis. Bondi, Tzikis and Draper involved in a massive shunt. A 2-parter for Tzikis and Bond. Let's see if he's sustained any damage in all of that. Have a look at the train gathering behind him as well. Eduardo Zamora at the back of that. It's 12 deep. Kevin Wakefield off the track now. Unbelievable drama, and Bruce White didn't even take the start. We are down to 26. Tzikis with a meatball. Draper on the tow rope. Carnage at Spa.
Well, I'll chime in here to say that was a bloody mess. Unfortunately, that incident there, 3 wide, you come down the Bruxelles corner there. Unfortunately, just felt like it was becoming ever so slightly inevitable once they cut past the apex of the corner there. 3 drivers all squeezing in an area that 2 could fit through, and Draper, the meat, rather unfortunate sandwich.
Gentlemen, if it was Formula V, you might have got away with 3 wide through there. Oh dear. Bondi retains 5th, so I'm interested to see what the incident between him and Alex Tzikis was all about, and whether or not that was self-inflicted, because Bondi's not sustained damage in all of that.
Bond was the 3rd part of the Tzikis-Draper moment there through Bruxelles. So I remember right, I think Bond was on the Craig was on the he's on the outside of the turn,
which puts him on the inside for the next corner, which is where Tzikis was parked. Yeah, and
Tzikis was up the inside, Draper in the middle. And the 2 inside and middle come off the worst. There's another 3 wides just due.
Oh, Purvis. Hold it together, boys. No evasive action taken by Matt Distill. That'll be a slowdown. Absolutely every day of the week. Now he's in the gravel. And gone trouble. Lockie Purvis loops it. Again, not having the success that he's enjoying in the Formula Vs and the Formula 3s. We love our Formula racing here on the platforms of the GSRC, don't we? 2:13.098, that's standing lap time for Aidan Cale. Tzikis has been to pit lane and has resumed. Now, the good thing for Alex is that fulfills his pit stop obligations. As far as I'm concerned, he's come in and cleared the mechanical meatball, and he could be good to go to the end. But I think it'll be interesting to see what the fuel tank capacity has to say about that. That may be his Achilles heel right now.
Yes, that is... something I can check on. I'm trying to think about the situation and what that would actually do. I think he might be able to get away with it.
Oh, and Jaden Draper, of course, out of the race. No real surprise there. Through we go. We mentioned Adam Lavis. He's in 11th spot at the moment, but not the biggest mover in the field so far. Guy Leach up 8 spots. So too Brett Bradbury. 7 positions gained for Joel Farley. 6 for Adam Funslow.
Oh, late.
And also Cooper Friend.
Funslow. Oh, and he's...
damage. In comes Brett Barker. Oh, wow. That looks horrible. The front end of the Injectors Online Racing entry. And Patrick Savina now showing off the road as well. Drama aplenty at the end of the second lap. We start the third. 2 minutes 10 the standing time there for Aidan Cale. So 2:10. That's 5 laps in 11 minutes, 10 in 22. You don't get to 33 in all of that, ladies and gentlemen. So we're probably looking at no more than well, we might have to leverage some overtime here, ladies and gentlemen, but we're looking at 14 laps tonight. Pete Madsen caught up, and that was the secondary incident there. Pete's on pit road. Patrick Savina will limp on, noting full well that he would have got done for an unsafe pit entry had he gone in the way he was heading. So he's got limping off on another lap. So unfortunately, Pete in trouble early. He did mention earlier that he was struggling for pace. So it'll be more of a struggle now as he chug-a-lugs on at the back of the train now for the balance of the evening. But he has been able to get back out on the circuit, 44.1 seconds he was stationary for. Now that seems to me as though he's also incurred a stop and hold in all of that, because he did drive back into pit lane under his own steam. Yeah, interesting. So I'm just making sure that I got the numbers right here. 5 and 11, 10 in 22, 10 laps in 22 minutes, 2:10 apiece. So 2:10, 2 is 4:20, 3 is 6:30. So you times that by 4, you get 27 and 12. So yeah, 14 is about where we're heading tonight. Unless of course the pit lane transit time derails those calculations. But even then, I think we're good, because we've got so much carryover time here at Spa that we could go as far as 32 minutes to get those 14 laps done. We won't get 15, because as I say, 2:10 times the 5 is 10 minutes and 50 seconds, 32 and a half. Plus the standing time, we lost a few seconds there, plus also the fact that we do have a pit lane transit. We won't get the 15, but we will go a long way to getting 14 laps in this race. Not that maths is my strong point, Daniel Yeoman, and I think I've just illustrated that, but I think that's where we're going.
Well, we can try and quickly do a bit of calculator work in the background in a moment, as we watch here. These group of guys just around the top 10. Richard King now holds that 10th place position, time being ahead of Adam Lavis and Calvin Hodgkinson. After Hodgkinson ran a little deep with the exit of the Source hairpin and found the gravel on the exit of the corner, so he'll drop back a couple of positions. And this is our sort of 4-car battle is our biggest at the moment and closest. We've got Bond and Heppel together up the road, and then also Heppel to Still Leach. They're sort of fanned out somewhat, and 3 cars further back, and is back on track. He's had a bit of a meal of some part of the Com chicane, I suspect. He's there. I've got to slow down to his name, so that's still to get sorted out. Harris on his own there in 4th. So it's Bondy on back with Mark Heppel in the slipstream.
Doesn't seem as though Bondy's been hampered or compromised by whatever happened with Alex over at, I think it's turn 10. And I say that because we saw 2 separate incidents there. The one which, of course, eliminated Jaden Draper. He was the unfortunate meat in the sandwich, as you so rightly put it. And then, of course, Tazika sustained that mechanical meatball flag damage at the next corner. Jet Murray comes to pit lane, the first of the scheduled pit stops, I want to say. In all of that, Brett Barker was in there as well. 11.45 seconds for him. Now, Jet's just gone onto the tow rope and out. Now, what the hell's gone on there?
Yeah.
That wasn't in the script.
Out of the server and goodbye for the Jet, apparently.
Wow. Okay, Pete Madsen moves up to 24th as a result of that. We've got our second retirement of the night. That has come from nowhere. Here's Bond under pressure from Heppel, the third of the 1-9 entries. Down the Camel Straight we go.
Give it the push.
Bondy holding his own. Yeah. Bondy holding his own very nicely there in 4th. Up 3 spots so far.
So there's a bit of the play from Heppel. He'll push the limits. But clear there from Mark. There's no need to press on as the leader of the pair. At this point, if they can work together and perhaps just reel in Jonathan Harris, then the battle might truly be on, because then Mark's in a spot to possibly go and try and get that podium sweep, I'm sure. he's been waiting to try and help snatch for 1-9 since this season kicked off.
I don't think we need, again, and I'm going to sound like a what do you want to call it, a parrot. I'm going to sound like an early onset sort of dementia patient when I say this, because I'm saying it that regularly that it's concerning. But once again, we find ourselves in the situation where we're kissing first and second goodbye. So, I mean, Aiden Kale, Brayton Sagassa. So Kale's taken the lead away from Sagassa. Not sure whether we covered that live or not with all the other stuff that's been going on. But Kale's gone back to the front. Sagassa is second. 1.7 is the margin, first to second. But they have disappeared into the sunset. They saw their opportunity early. They bolted on the opening lap. Their launch laps have been among the best across the GSRC servers this season. They just put, Bondi on the limit with a slide. Big one out of the bus stop, coming back to the main straight. He retains fourth. And Mark Heppel in behind him, getting out of the throttle to avoid potential collateral. But Bondi was able to gather it up and not loop it, which was good to see for both parties. Back we go. Eduardo Zamora to pit lane. But yeah, it has been a magnificent season that what 1-9 have put together. Kale and Sagassa, they launch beautifully in these cars. They take off. They put breathing space between them and the rest of the pack on the opening lap, irrespective of all the garbage that happens around them and behind them. Irrespective of any of that, they always seem to have the upper hand and one hand on the trophy by the end of that opening lap. Off they go, and everybody else is scrapping for the minors. And already it's 1.8 Kale to Sagassa, and then 4.5 seconds back to Jonathan Harris, who's got 1.5 on Bondi. Heppel to still Farley Leach. Then Richard King and Callan Hodgkinson make up the top 10. Your thoughts, Dan? There's a fine art to what these guys are doing off a standing start.
Yeah, these cars, you can get away with a pretty aggressive drop on the clutch, and it's just a matter of actually really sort of finding how low do you dare go. You get it in that, and you get in the happy spot for this car. It's very much dump it straight to that bite point and roll it away, and try and get out of the clutch as fast as you can to allow all the power that this engine can produce to get to the rear wheels. Because being a naturally aspirated, small capacity engine, it does obviously lose a bit. Oh, Guy Leach in the background, they're having a massive moment out of the Fungus chicane, hangs onto it just, and now he's really starting to push the limits around this place. I'll see him back in reach of Richard King, Hodgkinson, Lavis quickly enough here. But yeah, this car, unless you're, if anything, I'd say it's much easier to not get enough out of the car on launch than it is to go too far and get the launch horribly wrong on a flat piece of track like we see here at Spa.
7,004 metres a lap here at this circuit. I've got a good feeling that my mathematics is standing the test of the challenge at the moment, which is good, because we've just started lap 7 through 13 and a half minutes. Daniel Correa started pit lane now, so with him doing that, the top 17 cars in this race will be yet to stop. Just the 2 retirements so far. Pete Matson, the last runner in the field at the moment. Dan Correa stationary for 4.95 seconds. And just having a look at the regulations here, I mean, we know that we've got a compulsory pit stop. Just having a look at the tank capacity, it's 45% fuel cap. So that's an iRacing regulation that can be manipulated and tinkered with internally via our boys that set the servers here. So they've capped the fuel tank at 45% of its usual capacity. That's as much fuel as you can take on board. So that will obviously be of interest to Alex Tsoukas as to whether or not he can push on to the end of the race, sitting in 18th spot at the moment without making a second trip down pit lane, having had to clear the mechanical meatball on the opening lap. A couple of points of interest here too, folks. It is week 5. We get to halfway for this term at the end of this week. We're excited about that. For the next 2 Monday nights, I'll be broadcasting to you from Cessnock, as well as next Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll have a lot of excitement to look forward to. on yet another road trip. I'm en route to Grenfell this time around for the Dunlop Kart Stars for Karting New South Wales. But if you haven't already seen it, it's included in our blurb for this week's broadcast. And again, wasn't aware until about 20 past 7 this evening. So Dan Yeoman here tonight, Adam Lavis therefore with me on Wednesday, just to clarify that. But what I can tell you is that, whoa, Alex on the edge here, he's putting in some big numbers to try and reel in the deficit incurred on the opening lap. Mark Heppel comes to pit lane, gets out of Bondi's Road, in comes Adam Funslow as well. That's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Fun and slow. Those two syllables. They're not usually used in the same sentence terribly often. Here's Tzirkus down the outside. But if you go and click the YouTube link in our broadcast alert for this week on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club broadcast page on Facebook, you'll notice that our Porsche Cup finish from Daytona, the 3-wide finish at Daytona, was submitted to iRacing, I think by Willie Blair, with Hayden Smith and Marcus Watson and Ryan Jones. The three of them, they've featured in the iRacing Players of the Month for April. Despite the fact that the race was back in February, it's featured in the iRacing Players of the Month for April. So well done to the boys and everyone involved there. And nice of iRacing to acknowledge the fact that I get paid to talk for a living for the second time in recent memory. Through goes Alex Tzirkus, chasing Daniel Correa here, and likely to make a move down the Camel Straight.
Actually, watch for this one is Zach, because he's popped out really early at the top of Radion. He's actually not going to be able to get clear. It's going to be a straight side-by-side shoot here into the comp. And he'll win out by just claiming a bit more of the track than Correa was willing to take for himself there. And yeah.
Good evening to Greg Padgett. Great to have him tuning in. The interesting thing for mine in all that too, mate, I mean, we have a look at where we're at with regards to the server here, right? That was interesting for mine, the way Tzirkus went about that. Yes, he eventually got the job done, but as you say, if it had tucked into the slipstream just a little bit longer, he might have been able to clear him before the first of the sweeping corners there, the right-hander rather than the left-hander. He got it done eventually, but he did it the hard way. Sagassa and Bond in. So leaders are now starting to transit the lane. Richard King, Callan Hodgkinson as well. Aidan Cale pushes on. Aidan Cale, Jonathan Harris, Matt Distiller stayed out. But as I say, Sagassa, Bond, King and Hodgkinson in. And by the end of that, Cooper Friend's off the road at the bus stop. At the bus stop, Cooper Friend off the road and on the tow rope. Oh no, what's happened here, please? Cooper Friend. Looks as though the driver's parted company with the car. Gone. Let's have a look. This was coming to the braking zone. I wanted to give you an up-to-date sort of tally as to where we were with regards to... Oh, no, that's unlucky. And he's just decided that's enough for me.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing more to it than that. Just a small lose, and he's had enough. Don't blame him. On the tow rope and done, Cooper Friend. Back we go to Adam Lavis. Cooper needs to get back out there and get to the finish if he can. Bag the points. In a 14, if we are going 14 laps, and I have a feeling we are, if we go 14 laps, he only needs to get back to the line to complete lap 11, I want to say. Lap 11, so he might end up 3 laps down, but if he gets to the finish line, he'll still get the points for 24th position at the moment, and that's at the moment. That's not taking into consideration any future retirements in this race. And on that subject, you can see on your totem pole now, thank you to Dan Yeoman for steering me in the right direction here. Top 4, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 11th, Brett Bradbury. So just 8 cars yet to transit the lane. Cooper Friend has retired. Not taking my advice at all.
Yes, indeed. Just running the maths myself, indeed. We should get 14 laps, so fall back to 13 laps would require averaging lap times of 2:18 around Spa. And we've been running in the very low 2:11s, if not high 2:10s for Sagassa and Cale in this race so far, setting the pace up to this point. So by that number, every lap there, 8 odd seconds ahead of the average time required. We should easily maintain on target for the 14 laps, despite the pit stop that is also still needed on the books.
And based on those numbers, we're finishing this race somewhere in the back end of that 31st minute or very early in the 32nd minute of racing as well, ladies and gentlemen. So keep an eye out on that. Let's press on here. Braden Sagassa running nicely at the moment in 4th. Best placed of anyone to have completed their pit stop. John Baldwin, Brett Bradbury, the only two behind him that haven't yet fulfilled that requirement, completed that obligation. Oh no, Adam Lavis. Oh no. That looks like a stop and hold to me.
That is up past 35 seconds already. Yeah, it's not looking too great.
It's not looking crash hot at all.
Let me see if I can pick up his pit entry for us here. May need to go back a couple of seconds longer than this.
It might be something to do with the point of entry right on the outside of the bus stop there. Let's see if we can't nail that. Oh, that it doesn't appear to be terribly wrong with that.
You might be honest because his speed looks good on pit entry. Indeed, I'll go back one more time here and we'll go back to.
Yeah, stay with this shot. Through the bus stop we'll go. And if he's picked up any of that AstroTurf on pit entry, that might be what it is. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
that's what it'll be.
Yeah, that unfortunately is taking too much liberty with the pit entry limit. For Adam Lavis, because speed is A-OK 70, 71, and he's on the limiter, as you can see just there at the bottom of the shot. So unfortunately, that's all self-inflicted for Adam Lavis. Backing away, but down in 21st.
Dear oh dear. Another top 10 finish goes begging. Potentially there for Adam. Is down 6 spots on where he started now, but was up 4 or 5 before that stop on corrected order. Distill, Harris and Kale all to pit lane this time by. And we just await now John Baldwin and Brett Bradbury. Now, this is the interesting part for me, Dan. We're looking at that. Those guys are coming in at the end of lap 10. So that could spell trouble for Alex Tzidakis there in the JMR entry. Because we've been looking at his pit stop with regards to, whether or not he can make the finish from a lap 1 mechanical meatball. The answer could well be no. Distill, Baldwin and Bradbury back out into the race. And that will cleanse the field. So Baldwin and Bradbury leave it late. They go in at the end of lap 10. Sagassa's deficit to his teammate, Kale's advantage is 2.82 seconds. And there'll be a part of Aidan Kale that's very, very happy with what's about to play out here, quite frankly. He'll love the fact that he can relinquish the pressure that's been mounting from within his own team, from his own teammate here for the last couple of weeks, and get one back. That's a nice move. Bondi up into 3rd, ahead of Jonathan Harris. Have a look at the charge from the boy from Gundagai. 3rd. The run down the Camel Straight works perfectly for Bond. And now these two can duke it out for the final spot on the podium. Damage done. Leaders are gone. 11 seconds between 1st and 3rd at the moment. And that's just rounding up, ladies and gentlemen, because it is showing as 10.77 on my run sheet at the moment on my timing screen. You are seeing the gaps car to car, not overall on your screen at the moment. So even then, 8 seconds back from Sagasta to Bond. There it is on overall order for you folks. But yeah, it is a foregone conclusion that unless Kale and Sagasta put a foot wrong here, but they will be 1st and 2nd again in no particular order, and it'll be their 5th round win of the season. There's a real question. There's a real conversation that probably needs to be had at some point here, Dan, about what these guys are going to be able to be capable of. Whether or not they can go on and convert this into the team winning every single round. And I stress the importance of the use of the language there, because Aidan Kale and Braden Sagassa actually split the points and won the round combined. It was a tie for 105 points a couple of weeks ago, and that was despite Aidan Kale finishing 2nd in that single race at the Nürburgring, 105 points apiece. Last week he got a 5-point win over Sagassa at Miami. Tonight it's looking as though Aidan Kale is going to grab his 5th round win of the season. And with that, it will be also his 5th race win with 2 seconds in those sprint races that we mentioned. And that will give 1-9 a lock out of the top 5 rounds, all 7 races. of the season so far. We haven't seen dominance like this for quite some time. My immediate memory goes back to Matty Dench waltzing in at the start of the third round at GT4, winning the next 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then not having to turn up for the final round because he'd already wrapped up the championship, which was just one small little chapter in an era of dominance from Denchy. But that was one of my favourite championship campaigns that I've ever seen put together here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. There's Joel Farley moving into 11th now. Ahead of John Baldwin, they're chasing Guy Leach.
Slingshot there working to good effect for Farley. Leach tried even there to give a bit of assistance there to John, but Farley's momentum up and over Rouge and Radio was not to be denied on that occasion, despite the attempt. Now continue on, and it'll be Guy's turn to potentially be the vulnerable one in this trio come the next lap. There's plenty of opportunity for Farley to build up a head of steam here with the slipstream, although in saying that, gap's already out till second as they come through who on there, so maybe not as guaranteed as I thought maybe a couple of corners ago.
Good to have your company wherever you're tuning in. Monday Night Motorsport platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. And the first of 3 that we're bringing in this week. GT3 from Sandown follows this, folks. I don't think I've mentioned that yet. We were so excited about the fact that we're at Spa tonight. We've been focusing wholly and solely on that, but do stick around post-race. After we catch up with Mr. Cale and Mr. Sagassa, of course, we will be taking you to the Sandown Motor Raceway down towards Yeaman's neck of the woods, actually. Mm-hmm. In Victoria, potential for rain is high, purely just because it's Victoria. No other reason. AM Split first up, Pro-Am Split second up, GT3 front and centre on a Monday night. Back-to-back sprint rounds for that series. And our first look at Pro-Am in sprint mode this year, and our second look at AM. We, of course, have brought you a 60-minute race from Pro-Am already this term, but now we're going to get our chance to have a look at them in sprint mode. You'll see the feature from that split at the end of the night. Hopefully, once Adam Lavis has crunched the numbers, we can relay the results to you from GT3 Pro as well. But we're always excited because it is Sandown. It's one of our widely regarded, revered and loved circuits across the platform, across the cohorts. So hopefully that'll result in some big numbers lining up on the grid tonight for the latest round of the series. And I must say, Dan, we mentioned last term the drop-off, the significant plunge off the cliff edge of numbers right across the board in our servers, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 categories. To have 27 start this race, or 26 start this race in Formula 3 at the halfway mark of the season, that's really promising.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I guess it's one of the great struggles with most leagues is how do you maintain retention for those who feel they've got nothing left to race for if they're results-oriented across the course of the season. So, yeah, the fat drivers still think it's worth coming to show off the races. It does help. Oh yeah, makes the field look good, obviously, given that we broadcast the races, as well as just ensure that, there's some higher stakes still involved if something was to go a little sideways, especially now in this season with the point scheme. The point scheme does reward attendance more so than a couple of flashy results. To separate things, as I should probably note there, just behind the timing tower, old Barney is already giving a wave of that white flag
behind
there.
The white flag.
As the laps have ticked by quietly, it seems.
The bingo card has its first tick in the box for the night. We got 14, right? That's good. The old calculator's not as shonky as I thought it might have been. So that's promising. I'll take that. That's a nice little win. In the meantime, have a look at this. The gloves are off, the elbows are out, and that was forceful from Bond, but it wasn't enough to deny Jonathan Harris a crack at third. Down the Cumberland Straight. The gloves are off. They're side by side. Bondi under brakes, tries to keep Harris at bay. Harris will go around the outside and get the job done momentarily. It's not done yet. They're still side by side. Hit contact. Harris has 4 wheels in the dirt. And Bondi goes through to third. Wowee. Clean, but pushing the limits of adhesion. And Bondi trying to hold on to a podium finish. What can Harris do here? The rundown to Puyong. Meanwhile, the other two are in the final sector already. Kale and Sagasa are on their run home for a 5th round win for Aidan Kale. Extraordinary numbers being racked up here, but we cannot take our eyes off this because Jonathan Harris is going to have one more opportunity to have a crack here. It'll be in the final sector. It will be at the bus stop. Bondi needed a clean run out of the right-hander there to get the launch he required to try and keep Harris at bay in the slipstream through the final sector. We'll see if it works. But in the meanwhile, get your hands out and smash them together. Here's Harris down the inside. Harris down the inside. Bondi will have the inside running when they get to the bus stop, but Harris has cleared him. Harris has cleared him. They're still side by side. Aidan Kale wins at Spa in dominant fashion. Braden Sagasa goes second. His winning run comes to an end. Harris is there. Harris is there. Harris has got the job done and denies the boy from Gundagai a podium. And had it been another lap, they might have been under some sort of serious threat from Mark Heppel as well. What a scrap that was. And Jonathan Harris records, I want to say, his best finish in the Formula 3 season so far. With thanks to waste options. Photo further back, Joel Farley holds off Guy Leach by 0.06 of a second. Unreal. I'm just having a look here to see if Jonathan Harris, I think that is the first time Harris has actually driven one of these things this season, which makes it even more bloody impressive that he's been able to nab a podium and to do so in such dramatic fashion. So welcome to Formula 3, Jonathan Harris. How good was that? We've had 36 drivers try to attempt to drive these things going into the round. Harris makes 37, and he goes onto the podium. And the funny thing about the podium is it's a rare commodity in this series at the moment because the first two spots have been so heavily occupied by the same two blokes. So everybody else is fighting for a third-place finish. Bondi, of course, got 2 of those last week, and now a 4th to go with it. Oh, boy. Winning margin 3.2, another 9 seconds back to Harris, half a second back to Bond and Heppel. And, yeah, Harris and Bond are probably both happy that it finished when it did, with Heppel looming large. There's the photo, Joel Farley. What about that? On the last corner of the last lap, we're at the over and under to pip Guy Leach in a photo. Oh.
Half a car.
It might only, yeah, it's half a car length in it, isn't it? But it's only 0.06 of a second. That's how fast those things are flying through. John Baldwin was 12th, Daniel Correa-Sara, Eduardo Zamora, Brett Bradbury, and then Lockie Purvis. Alex Tzikis in for 7th, Brett Barker, Mark McNamara, Adam Lavis. A couple of those guys ruining what might have been, particularly Barker and Lavis, with early troubles. Barker made 2 pit stops in the end, and so too did Alex Tzikis. Lavis got to stop and hold. Yeah, behind him, Savina, Wakefield, Matson, who managed to complete 11 laps, so that'll clear him as far as 75% distance is concerned, and then the 3 retirements of Friend, Murray and Draper. What the hell? 3.29, Aidan Kale, biggest winning margin against Braden Sagasa this season. The only one more dominant than that was when Kale smashed the competition at the Algarve International Circuit Portimao, and the reason for that is Sagasa didn't turn up that week. But every other week that the two of them have been here, they have been first and second in every single race that they have contested alongside one another. The advantage they enjoy in the team's championship is exorbitant. And Jonathan Harris joins, let me rattle off some names here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Joins Stephen Bull, Brett Barker, Brendan Grosh, Craig Bond, and also Ryan Jones as one of many drivers to nab a 3rd place finish so far in this campaign. And the only 2 drivers that have nabbed a 2nd place finish in the absence of Braden Sagasa were, if you don't mind, Adam Hayne, who hasn't been on the grid since, Oh, actually, no, sorry, once, and that was a 14th in the DNF last week. So second and non-classified at the Algarve, and Guy Leach was second in that feature race in the round that Braden Sagassa missed there. The boys must be getting sick of this, but it's now part of the ritual. They'll be reporting here to have a chat with us very shortly. But again, it's almost monotonous now. It's so repetitive because it's just standard procedure. Just a word on how talented it is and how impressive it is, Dan, that these two have been able to go out and do what they have done and do it so well and do it so consistently.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those cases. At one point, I was kind of hoping I'd get some time to do laps in this series at some point, but end of the day, this is the night that's ended up being the better night for me to contribute to the club and give Adam a breather. Whether that changes at some point later in the season and Adam's happy to also give up his racing he's been able to do on a Monday night, because he's also been quite, I think, well, obviously some misfortune tonight may certainly...
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not mention tonight, no.
Yeah, okay, so tonight might be the exception to the rule, but I could swear he said at one point that, he was kind of more enjoying GT and F3 racing than the supercar at the very least. When it came to a Monday-Wednesday comparison on what he had on offer.
Indeed. Let's have a look here at the... you've got the results on your screen there, folks. As you can see, everyone that finished did so on the lead lap. Pete Matson finished in pit lane on the tow rope. I'll wait and see whether he gets classified or not, because by my numbers, the fact that he completed 11 laps, that's good. He fulfills that obligation, but I know there's a little sub-clause in all of that with regards to remaining in the server. I don't think Pistol did that. He probably tried to get a jump start on preparations for GT3. Aidan Cale back in victory lane. Well, it's not like you ever left it. I mean, you've had 2 second-place finishes and a first over the last 2 weeks, but to win by that margin over your teammate, that must make you smile.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was it was an interesting race, actually. There's a fair bit of carnage going on behind me as I'm just cycling through the incidents. But I mean, I'd say it's bittersweet. Like, it's good that I got the win and stuff. It's I do wish that Braden was a little bit closer there, but I mean, I think he was struggling a little bit.
I was going to say, we weren't really surprised to see you guys build the buffer as big as you did, as early as you did. That's been the real strength of your performance throughout the course of the season. You build that buffer and then just go on with it. You've got that start procedure and that opening lap pace down packed.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely worked out that that's the most important thing. You just need that cold tyre pace, because like around here, especially like looking at qualifying times, like apart from Braden, it was incredibly close for like the next 16 cars, like within a second. So yeah, it's all about getting that cold tyre pace and getting a good start off the line, because if you don't have that opening pace, yeah, you're kind of susceptible to being in all that carnage that you guys saw in the mid pack.
Carnage that you're very happy to stay away from, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, some races it is really good to race, and the reverse top 10s is more like kind of damage limitation, where, you kind of are put in the mid-pack, but you kind of, just if you are in the mid-pack, you just got to get the mindset of just, damage limitation and setting people up correctly and, just doing a few different strategic maneuvers to try and get around them.
Talk to me about the rest of it here, mate. I mean, 5 round wins on the trot. Yeah, okay, one of them was tied on points with your teammate, but 5 round wins on the trot. The question now remains, or lingers, I guess. Can you go on with it? Can you complete the box set here and have 10 round wins to your name at the end of this championship?
I mean, it'd be definitely difficult. Like, I honestly, if I think realistically, I don't think it'll happen. Simply because I think my bad luck is going to hit me at some point during this season. My teammates didn't like me wanting to say this, but I'm not good at Suzuka. I did say to them that I'm not good at Spa, and they keep saying that I lied to him. But no, I'm not really that quick at Suzuka compared to some of the other tracks. But yeah, 10-round wins would be good, but obviously, well, at the moment, that's not really the focus going into the rest of the season.
I'm glad that you threw yourself under the bus there, because if you didn't call BS on you not being good at Spa, one of us would have. Because 2.33 second advantage. Well, actually, it was 3 seconds in the end. Our timing screen has gone back into giving us information from the race, as it were, not giving us the overall standings as they were at the line there. It's no longer frozen. But yeah, it was a big 2.29. Thank you, Dan Yeaman. 3.29. I've just had that come through my earpiece. Thank you. So yes, that would very much suggest that you are actually better at Spa than you give yourself credit for. But interesting, isn't it? Because, mate, I think about Suzuka and I look at Formula One around there, for instance, and I think overtaking isn't exactly clear-cut straightforward there as it would be as that practice is on some of the other circuits we visit. So does that place an onus on the importance of qualifying and track position when we go racing next Monday night?
To be honest, I think every round, especially Formula 3, because it's a bit, and Formula cars, because it's a bit difficult to lean on other people, and I've just been going through the incidents, and there's a whole lot of people flying everywhere, and you touch your wheels and someone else is off to Narnia. But yeah, I feel like qualifying is definitely it's absolutely crucial for especially open wheelers, anywhere that you go. It's just so that you can kind of get out of that mess early on, and yeah, I'm gonna have a bad quali run at some point, I think, and I'll be find myself in that mess. But yeah, it's everyone's you just got to get into the first couple of rows, and I think you can kind of go from there. But yeah, qualifying will be important at Suzuka, but I also think that your racecraft is also really good around there to try and not defend in the wrong places, because it's all about you could defend in the wrong place, and you're off losing 5/10 by being on the wrong line for the next 3 corners.
I just received a message via Snapchat, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, from Bondi after 4th place, and all it read was "so close." So more from him a little bit later on after GT3, I'm sure. Talk to us. I don't want you to spill all your secrets on air, mate. I know you want to keep some stuff up your sleeve for the benefit of keeping your fellow competitors guessing, but what is the secret to qualifying? Because really, 10-minute session here, especially longest course on the tour, I believe I'm right in saying. Yeah, nothing else equates to 7 kilometres. Road America close at 6.5, but everything else is, of course, less than 7 and less than 6. We don't go to Bathurst on this tour. We go to Adelaide instead, being the flavour of the month, being the newest circuit on the tour and all that sort of stuff. But talk to me through the secrets of qualifying, just how much discipline's involved in getting out there, finding clear space, which can be difficult when there's 26 other lunatics out there with you, and then going about it and nailing the lap. Not quite like what we're seeing on screen there, the replay of you kicking up a bit of dirt, but nailing the lap and then putting the number on the board and parking it.
Yeah, I was surprised that wasn't a 1x there. I was, definitely was a bit nervous. I mean, my opinion is do what everyone else isn't doing. I mean, Dan knows with the drop bear boys, because those guys are just incredibly quick. It's just a matter of, for me, doing what you're not doing and kind of doing what works best for you. I honestly, to be fair, I'm not sure how I race cars. I'm not sure of the techniques that I use or anything. I don't use braking markers. It's really weird. I don't know how I do it, why I do it. But the more that you think, the more that you are consciously trying not to mess it up. So the more you actually think about driving, the more likely you are going to mess it up. So it's just a matter of trying to do what calms you down. Just go out there like it's any other lap. Talk to your teammates if they're a bit chatty, and and just kind of drive the track and see what happens, you know, and also not worrying about what you know you can't control. Because I've been susceptible to this, is just, you know, complaining about what other people are doing lap time wise and stuff like that, and worrying about that. And it's, you know, if you worry about that too much, you know, you're going to end up taking away from your own performance and, you know, worry about the things that you can control.
I like it. I'm a big fan of that. So you're not expecting great things from yourself at Suzuka. So as a result of that, we'll talk to you in Victory Lane on the podium next Monday night. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the Adelaide Parklands to follow, then Long Beach and Circuit Park Zandvoort. That one is going to be the test, I think, of the lot, the 45 minutes around there with 2 compulsory pit stops on June 15, and everyone will have some sort of fatigue about them on the back of absorbing the opening weekend of the FIFA World Cup football, and also, of course, sitting through as much of the Le Mans 24-hour as they can that weekend. What else is on the racing radar this week, please, mate?
Not a whole lot, actually, surprisingly enough. I mean, last week I had a few races, but no, not this week. Maybe a little bit of... I got Indy NXT top split tomorrow afternoon our time, so I'll be doing that, and yeah, a little bit here, a little bit there, pretty much, and maybe some Radicals top split broadcast as well on Saturday, but we'll have to see.
Nice. Has your teammate lost his voice or got a sore throat or something? Because normally you hear as a tandem act.
Might be a bit of disappointment mixed in with that one, which is completely understandable. Yeah, he's such a quick driver, and he's got the pace like in any car that he drives, and like that's evident here. But it's, yeah, you know, you have your good days and you have your bad days, and you've got your days that you're hard on yourself. So yeah, you know, there's no denying that his pace was strong tonight, and you know, even Mark there in 5th he had some really good pace as well, and Lockie as well, which yeah, just keeps getting mixed in unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, he had a spin and recovered to 14th in the end. I don't know if we gave that enough attention, but that was a good recovery. And as I said in the call, Mark Heppel was breathing down the throat of Jonathan Harris and Craig Bond there as well at the end, mate. Had he had one more lap, he might have been able to just make life a little bit more difficult for them than what it already was, the way in which they were keeping each other honest. But yes, it bodes well when you got 3 of the team in the top 5. And you mentioned the disappointment and the fact that you guys wear the heart on the sleeve. You're absolutely right, though. He is a very solid performer and a very quick competitor in his own right, is Braden Sagassa. But let me ask you this. Have there been, because I know you two are good mates and I know you work closely together as teams do, have there been instances where he's leaned on you for some pointers and some advice and vice versa, or not?
Definitely with like TCR, like I gave him a whole lot of pointers for that, and then he was quicker than me, so that was a whole lot of fun. But yeah, like, you know, we all kind of lean on each other. We all kind of, you know, I think it's more of an entire team kind of thing. Like, you know, I asked Chris for some pointers, our team owner. Like, I asked Mark for some pointers with the F3 car, you know, tyre warming strategies, what's too much, you know, stuff like that. And then, you know, I asked Lockie for other things like, you know, Formula Vs and, you know, some other cars that I rarely drive as well. So, you know, we're kind of a mix of information amongst all of us, and we got our strengths and the cars that we're strongest in, and we're all strong in like different cars, so it's actually it actually kind of helps because we're all just helping each other with trying to get up to speed in every car. But yeah, I mean, there's no real hostility in there. We're all just kind of helping each other, and you know, gloves will come off later this season, especially if we're like, you know, together, and it happened last week at Miami. So yeah, you know, expect some really hard racing between us two, but, you know, at the end of the day, we are just, you know, doing our best, but also trying to have a lot of fun, because, I mean, that's the whole reason why we do this.
Indeed it is, mate. Thorn Weggett just sliding into the conversation there a few seconds ago to alert our attention to the fact that there's a big field lining up in Pro-Am. We're excited to be showcasing their feature race from GT3 tonight, and we're looking forward to the AM sprint race as well. You'll see them next. Aidan, on behalf of the team, who would you like to thank, mate? The floor is yours.
Just 1-9. The team, just all the boys there, just great bunch of guys, and I can really be myself in that team, and we can just have a whole lot of fun whilst also prepping seriously as well. And just everyone else who are vouching for the 1-9 boys, and everyone who isn't vouching for the 1-9 boys, I'm glad that we're in your head.
I love it. What a dominant start from you blokes, and continuing with that week in, week out, just building something very, very impressive. Dominant start, dominant middle, and maybe all roads lead to a dominant conclusion. 5 round wins for the team on the trot, and 5 1-2 race finishes on the trot as well. 5 race wins out of the 7 for you, mate. 2 second places as well. Essentially, the front row and those top 2 positions are off limits to anybody else at the moment, unless they're representing the 1-9 stable. That's the patch of form you're in. We're comparing it to, what Sam Muir used to bring to the table in GT4, what Corey Lazarus used to bring to the table in the Porsche Cup, what Matty Dench brought to the table for so long in GT3, and everything else that he plied his trade at. So they're the numbers you're racking up. It's very impressive. It's been a pleasure to watch. No doubt it's been exhilarating to go out there and turn the wheels in anger, mate. Go well for the rest of the week. We'll see you when the second half of the term commences next Monday night at Suzuka. And we're not buying that either. We're expecting you to be in the top 3 at the very worst.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Dan. Great broadcast. We love watching it back every week.
You'll love it a bit more so than I think the rest of the team this week. There he is, Aidan Cale. Very nicely done from him. 5 round wins on the trot. Just a scintillating run of form that he is racking up at the moment. It's been, just mesmerising, quite frankly, and looking forward to seeing them go on with it in the second half of the season. We're going to take a break. These are the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. This is Monday Night Motorsport. It is live, exclusive and free. And on the other side, with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com and Flash Graphics, we'll take this opportunity to switch our attention from the open wheelers to the tin tops. Our Monday night tin top open wheel doubleheader continues, but it will be the tin tops in focus. The main course, Waste Options GT3, races 6 and 7 of the campaign, the second sprint round of the season. We're heading to the Pro-Am split from Sandown next, and Pro-Am to follow soon after. Stay with us. Once I can clear my throat. Sorry, Dan. Good evening once again, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world. Don't you hate that? You get the signal, you're 3 seconds away from live, and you need to hack your guts up. These are the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. This is Monday Night Motorsport. This is round 5 of Waste Options GT3 AM, followed by Pro Am from the Sandown Motor Raceway in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Yep, a home round for GT3, and we're excited about that. We're also excited about the fact that we've got 23 cars lining up on the grid here. And surprisingly, and I say that because it's Sandown, we've got dry conditions at the moment. We've got a few different manufacturers represented on the grid, which is nice. Change of pace compared to previous weeks. We've got 21 minutes on the clock for race 1 and 37 minutes on the clock for race 2. Angry Dutchman's already confirmed, but he's out for the next few weeks. I didn't see the whole comment there. Apologies. But we'll get back to that. 12:30 local server time for race 1. 9 km/h winds, 47% humidity, 21 the ambient, 26 on track, cloudy conditions and dry. So far, those winds are southerly at 11 km/h. Championship points coming into this round in GT3 AM. Thank you to you, Daniel Yeaman, for that. Show that Dale Sharp is on the cusp of being bumped up by his own admission. Actually, I saw his post earlier in the day. He's on the brink of eclipsing the pace threshold to retain his place in GT3 AM, but he leads Rd-5 at the moment. Mitchell van der Ven in the 3rd spot. Now, that's on the back of Mitchell van der Ven having a DNF in the race last week and being penalised in the first race at Brands Hatch, and that has significantly changed the look and picture of the championship there. 382 plays 322 and 318, 1 point clear of Alan McDonald, 317 and 4 points back to Luke Wegener. So 5 points covers 3rd and 5th, 60 points covers 1st and 2nd, 9 points covers 2nd and 5th. 308 for both Mitchell Buckman and Tim Watson, and also Logan Griffin, 3-way tie for 6th. 302 for Tristan Kosh and 293 for Todd Suter, so it's nice and tight at the top. 89 points covers 1st and 10th at the moment. McLaren, Porsche, Lambo, Ford, Mercedes, and Aston Martin and Audi. So 7 different manufacturers in the top 10 there at the moment. Right, here we go. Jonathan Harris on the front row. Alongside him is Alan McDonald. 2nd row, Martin Davis, Todd Suter. 3rd row, Scott Wood and John Simpson. 4th row, Ryder Dakin and Dale Sharp. 5th row, William Yarwood. Good to see him on the grid. And Edward Rollo. 6th row, Kelpash Desai and Luke Wegener. Then you go back to Darren Miller and Robert Gay. 8th row, Logan Griffin and Tristan Kosh. 9th row, Ryan Wood and Joe Hargroves. 10th row, Tim Watson, Peter Foster. 11th row is Steve Harvey and Jake Cowman. Cameron Hardwick, a non-starter here in all of that. So we'll get going and we'll alert your attention to the range of different manufacturers out there as soon as we get a chance to come up for air. They don't muck around, ladies and gentlemen. They hit the gas and get going almost immediately. We're racing at Sandown. Race 1 of 2 for the night. Waste Options GT3, round 5 of the campaign. Race 6 of 14. And the AM split not mucking around, not wasting any time. They got on with it immediately as soon as the safety car was clear of the circuit. Jonathan Harris, fresh off that magnificent 3rd place finish at Spa in Formula 3. He wanted to get on with it immediately. Hit the gas, got going, and checked out to a 1 second advantage. Alan McDonald already under pressure from Martin Davis up the back straight. The run down towards the famed turn 6, 7, 8 and 9 sequence at the circuit that brings us down to Dandenong Road. We will see an incident or two there, I think, tonight at turn 6. It is synonymous with the circuit. Martin Davis, Todd Suter up into 4th spot, the best of the Aston runners at the moment. You've got 7 different manufacturers, I think I'm right in saying, in the top 10 right now, which is extraordinary. Maybe 6. Ford, Porsche, Aston, Audi, McLaren. No, I was right the first time. 7. BMW and Chev.
Oh, yeah, no.
And you've got Ford there in 11th, which makes 8. Yeah, 8 and 11, which is extraordinary. And 9 in the field because the Ferrari's down there in 19th place. No Lambo, no Acura in this field tonight, but 9 of 11 ain't bad. When you consider that in the pro split we probably won't have anywhere near as high a number as that. Joe Hargrove showing off the road at the moment, but he resumes and doesn't lose a spot in the process. Jonathan Harris, the leader, and clear of Alan McDonald by 1.24 seconds. Good to see the Porsche there in 2nd spot, 2 of them in fact. Good to see the Aston, the Todd Suter, having a clean run at the moment. About time we saw an Aston up that high in the order. It's been a while. And then Scott Wooden, the first of the McLarens, in fifth spot. Ryder Dakin is sixth, the first of the Northwind Motorsport entries. Flash graphic. Good to see John Simpson out there for Summit Simsport. Not good to see Ryan Wooden in the dirt at Dandenong.
Makes sense. Is that attached to somebody else?
We'll find out, I'm sure.
Yeah, it might be a bit of two drivers. Or is this two drivers having a moment exactly the same time? It's different parts of the track. This first here is Yep. Okay, two completely separate incidents. Both into Dandenong Road. Okay, there you go.
Ryan's just bowled it too wide on the approach to turn 8 there and used the grass. And you're not going to pull up in the grass as you approach the left-hander at turn 1. Ryan limping away at the moment. Mitchell van der Ven out tonight with a wrist injury. Should be back for next week. So that is unfortunate for him, hence why there's no Lambo on the grid tonight, folks. And it's a blow to his championship campaign because arguably, Dan, I'm going to put it to you that with only a third place finish in round 1, 145 points, but then 15th, 12th, and then last week only acquiring 37 points for the night, and tonight at WnS, I'm arguing that that wrist injury puts him in serious danger of not having a drop round at his disposal for the balance of the season, which means he's pushing the proverbial uphill for the final 5 weeks, needs to try and have a trouble-free run.
Yeah, it's a strong possibility for him, unfortunately. So we hope to see it doesn't hurt his any championship aspirations he might have had too much in this next little phase.
If you have access to our a chat thread live at your end, Dan, without going into the YouTube server, you might be able to scroll back for me and just see what Angry Dutchman left as his first comment explaining why he was out tonight, because I didn't catch that. And he's obviously got no sympathy for Mitchell van der Ven there because he reckons his injury is cooler. They're both in the sick bay at the moment, but obviously, as is the belief of our commenter there, one injury is cooler than the other. Jonathan Harris, Alan McDonald, Martin Davis, Todd Suter, Scott Wood in the top 5. I had a wrist injury once, and true story. I'll clean this up as tidily as I can because it's not a bad story. And it's not a, gutter level sort of story. John Simpson on the inside there. Flash graphics sporting new colours, of course, this term. A bit more colour than what we've become accustomed to with those guys with the yellow and black. True story, I was walking through a bar. I started to walk a little bit faster when I heard the DJ start the early bars of Darryl Braithwaite's The Horses. My shoes, I only noticed after the fact the sole was giving out on those. They were starting to deteriorate, and I just happened to find a small speckle on a dark night where the lights were low, a small speckle of liquid that had been left behind by somebody else, spilt alcohol, because obviously everyone's drinking out of cups and glasses and plastic and all that sort of stuff. They're not actually out of bottles where you can contain the liquid for your own consumption enjoyment. Instead, share it with the floor. Slipped over on one of them, down I went, and had a nice little reminder of it for the next 6 weeks, which wasn't fun, and considering it was my main writing hand as well, not fun. Panda Fish, stream is looking great, thank you. 3 wide, here we go. Simpson under double of threat there because he's got Sharpie and Dakin down the inside, and William Yarwood there as well, looming large. And 4 different teams represented there. Northwind, Aussie Races, Flash Graphics, Summit Simsport and Whiskey Business.
Uh-oh.
Trouble! Simpson's been turned around by Yarwood. Yarwood's turned Simpson around. Edward Rollo also taking evasive action around the outside, sacrificing himself. He's going to drop down the order. Oh, dear. We've put the mocker on Simo just by putting him on camera, it would seem. And there he goes. Plummets right down to the bottom of the order. And it's so hard at that particular point of the circuit, Dan Yeaman, to rejoin cleanly. You haven't got a lot of room to work with. You haven't got a lot of runoff area. You got cars coming at you thick and fast, and Simo loses out a bunch of spots, down to 21st.
And he wasn't too happy about that whole situation. We might try and pick a different
I wouldn't
angle
have
of that
thought
one there in a moment. Now, whilst, of course, we're going to be tuning away from these guys here in this split, and of course, as I said, working our way over to the Pro-Am for their feature race, the invert top 10 is the main thing. There's all splits tonight, obviously, will feature that requirement, so we'll have to keep an eye on it for the end of this one, at least as a quick reference before we make that server switch to see what we're... the guys here will be going up against with a 32-lap race coming their way. For that one shortly at the end of this one.
Some good news coming through, some breaking news coming through just as we go to air tonight too, ladies and gentlemen. With regards to this part of the world, Sandown and, well, actually Melbourne and Victoria more specifically, the AFL has confirmed that the 4-20 Legends game for prostate cancer will be back on the calendar this year at Marvel Stadium, Thursday night, August 27, which, if I've done maths right, will be night 4 of week 8 of term 3 here on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. So well done to everybody involved in making that happen again. Ryder Dakin in 6th spot now, Dale Sharp 7th, William Elwood now, I guess, with an asterisk next to his name, and Luke Wegener breathing down his neck 8th and 9th, and Darren Miller in 10th. I was just about to make the point that we had 4 of our, an emerging team in Northwind Motorsport who we're getting to know a little bit better each passing week, along with Aussie Racers, Whiskey Business, and also, of course, the other car that was caught up in that was John Simpson Flash Graphics. Teams that have been with us forever and a day here, all in the same shot. It was a really nice moment, albeit too brief, considering that Simpson and Yarwood have tangled. And we're on lap 8 of 19. Jonathan Harris is the leader. The lap times are around about that 1 minute and 7 marker at the moment. And Jonathan Harris has arrived and made a statement, because he is 5.1 seconds to the good right now. Yarwood now under pressure from Luke Wegener for 555 Simsport and Darren Miller. Without a team attributed to his name at the moment, he's sitting there in 10th and holding the invert pole that Dan was just talking about.
They're going to watch out for the drivers that are in behind. I'm referencing 1.2 off, challenging for that inversion. Actually, 1.7 as he comes up the start from the straight now, actually, I should say. That's not impossible to overcome with a good couple of laps, and that last particular lap picked up 6/10 on Miller in front of him. Keep that up for a couple more laps and you'll very much got plenty of time to have a proper go at that top 10 position there, let alone those drivers just there in the back of shot decide Tim Watson there would ride all together, whether they can coordinate and get a run going in the next couple of laps. So we are with 11 to go here before the checkered flag of race 1.
And a very quick change of server for us will follow to bring you the Pro-Am split. We've already been alerted to the fact that there's a big field there gathering tonight for this round of the series. Sandown, of course, such a great draw card, as is Sebring for most people. Next week, that'll be the venue for you. John Simpson off the road again. Same point of the circuit too, I think. I just saw the off-track alert light up as he heads onto the back straight. Yep. Almost identical, only about 100 metres further away from where he ran into trouble the first time through. A frustrating night continues for John Simpson. Let's have a look at this.
Back to turn 1, because apparently we've got some excursion about to happen. Oh, Ooh. Bottom's out in the curb.
There you go. And, yeah, that just adds insult to injury. Insult into the wound for John Simpson. And this was the initial incident that triggered his demise, his fall down the order, and yeah, I can understand why he's a little bit aggrieved about that. I mean, there's a couple of things that we could have a discussion about there. I can understand why Will's going for the gap. I can understand why he's making the move there. It is Sandown. Overtaking opportunities come at a premium because it's a very short lap, 3.1 kilometres. But whether or not he needed to make the move that early and from that far back, that's the only question I've got with regards to that. I mean, time and place, yep, absolutely. And you've got to be forceful and you've got to be aggressive, but at the same time, Dan, you've got to be clean.
Yeah, there's a bit of an art to it. Just roll around the outside of the turn 1, tries to muscle Tim Watson. and take the place, but outside of the turn one on a trajectory that squeezed you down a bit, that didn't work out for him there at all in the slightest. So he'll have to sort that one out, and there's been a switch for 9th place. Darren Miller's picked up a spot on Luke Wegener, who's dropped back into the clutches of Logan Griffin for this top 10 position. And the all-important invert, here we go, Griffin to the inside, down the back straight away. No.
Not yet. Oh, now he's going to try and force the issue, but no, Wegener were alert to it and drove down the inside of the approach to turn 9 and closed the door politely. It wasn't firm, but he made sure. Oh, that's why. So Wegener's ended up in some sort of trouble there, and that's been to Darren Miller's benefit, as he's got the run onto the back straight all out of shape and crossed up at turn 4. So he has sported a little bit of damage from all of that. He has somehow managed to recover 10th and keep Griffin at bay. But that car looks like it's going to be a little bit of a handful for the final 8 laps. The problem is, great run down the back straight. Well done to Darren Miller, capitalising on the issue, the error made by Wegener, the mistake. But at the same time, well done to Wegener, knowing exactly what he had to do. He didn't drive it right firmly down the inside. He drove it down the inside, narrow enough to not leave a car width for Griffin to try and squeeze down, to try and wedge that door open just a slight touch bit more. He drove it right down the inside to the point where he didn't compromise his exit out onto Dandenong Road either. So that was very smart racecraft from Wegener to consolidate and ensure that he only lost 1 position as a result of that mistake.
Speaking of overdriving corners, we just saw it there from this mirror shot. Logan Griffin firing in way too deep at Dandenong Road there, and that's just all of a sudden released that pressure on Wegener. Now he's got the pressure again, dialed up to 11. Watson trying to get past Desai here into turn 1, inside this time for the Whiskey Business Mustang, and he'll take that one away without too much hassle here at the start of lap 13. 2.24 and 0.51. Is this from the Pro-Am split? That or the Pro split? I think it is.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. By the way, can we just acknowledge a couple of things that we would normally acknowledge at the top of the broadcast? No spoilers if you haven't seen the NASCAR, but very good, always nice to watch NASCAR road racing. Watkins Glen didn't disappoint this morning, even with them trying to somehow enforce track limits there for the first time ever. But also, of course, great racing in MotoGP last night, despite the absence of Marc Marquez. Geez, that was a monumental shunt for him on Saturday night. And I hope all the mums, we wish them a happy Mother's Day on Thursday night's broadcast, but we hope all the mums actually did have a lovely Mother's Day. Yesterday, it was nice to be able to have a chat to mine upon arrival home from Warwick and her from work last night. 15 minutes gone here. We're in the closing stages, folks. We're on lap 14, 5 to go at the line. And we should not have any hassle at all in completing all 5 of those scheduled laps. 19 laps, 21 minutes. It's a bit blink and you miss it because it is only a 67-second lap time around here. Here's Martin Davis putting the pressure on Alan McDonald. And this has been a battle that hasn't really ignited, but it's been sitting there simmering throughout the entire race so far. The way in which Davis has been all over the back of McDonald, like a cheap suit keeping him honest. There's, potentially, yep, that's the first mistake for McDonald. Doesn't open the door far enough for Davis. The run down the inside, the drag race. A cleaner run off the final corner for Davis. He has it up on the inside. He's going to take second away from McDonald at turn 1. Oh, opportunistic moment. For us to be on board, for McDonald to make the mistake and for Davis to capitalise, and he goes to second. Nicely done. Todd Suter still holds on to 4th spot. In fact, he's caught this pair. So we've got a 3-car battle for second now. Back then to Scott Wooden and Ryder Dakin. Rendale Sharp, William Yarwood, Darren Miller and Luke Wegener are all very, very lonely in the way in which they're going about their business at the moment down there in 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. But Davis has finally found a way through.
There you go. Piles on the pressure consistently enough to cause the chip under pressure.
John Harris. It won't matter. He's 11 seconds to the good. It won't matter, but he has been off the road. As you can tell, he's got a slow down to clear as well. Have a look at this.
Slow down exclusion.
Straight through, yep. Geez, he's lucky, isn't he, that the car nagged it, or jagged back left rather than right, because if it had kept going right, it would have been straight in the Armco. And a second incident for William Yarwood, this time at turn 9. Drops him down to 9th. Rick Wagner is 10th. Darren Miller, by way of mistakes for others around him, has moved up to 8th. Biggest move of the race is Tim Watson up 7 spots. Oh boy. So it was somewhat starting to calm down a little bit, but now it's ignited once more. 3 laps to go at the line. 3 minutes to go at the line. And Jonathan Harris will bring us home in a little over 21 minutes of racing here, folks, that hasn't disappointed. I mean, top quality, top shelf racing from the AM split. Enjoying the bright, flashy lights, the exposure that comes with being on broadcast and putting on a great show. 10-second penalty there for Brett Bradbury and Dale Atkins. Again, that's in the Pro-Am split. We're bringing that to you shortly. And off goes Peter Foster and off goes Ryan Wooden. Wooden has had to come to pit lane. And, yeah, things going from bad to worse for the Mustang pilot. John Simpson still sitting 21st at the moment. The invert pole sits with Luke Wagner. And that margin from Harris back to Davis has now shrunk to 9 seconds as well, to give everybody an idea, Dan, of just how much of a punishment you cop with the slowdown applied to your name.
Yeah, depending on where you get it, can be brutal around this place too. There are certain points where you've got the time to bleed it off if you serve it right. If you pick one up and say coming onto the back straight, that's obviously one of the worst spots to get it, because then you've got practically no time to get rid of it before you want to be on the power and going at speed. So it sort of compounds, obviously, the worst penalties. So we bring up, where's our top 10 situation, which is waking up and on the back of Yarwood. And Darren Miller's not really skipped away, and Logan Griffin is still a fair ways behind, and Tim Watson really pressuring him. So I think this invert is relatively settled in the scheme of things, with 2 laps to go for this lot. They will get the laps in, as you said. Jonathan Harris's pace has been more than sufficient to do so. In fact, by relative, here's they're back out just outside the top 10. Here is your race leader by comparison. Half a lap around the circuit already in just 20 minutes.
Indeed it is. So white flag flies this time by the line for Jonathan Harris. What a night he's having, eh? What a night he is having. 3rd in the Formula 3 race. Pipping Craig Bond in the final sector. And I won't be hearing the end of that one for a while. And now, of course, in a Mustang, out and flexing his muscle very nicely in what is only his 2nd appearance of the season in Waste Options GT3 AM. But important to note that he's picking up exactly where he left off, Dan. Didn't race the last 3 weeks, but first time out, first cab off the rank at circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Something about him and Spa, clearly. He likes running on the podium there. He won that outing in GT3 AM as well. So there'll be questions asked very shortly, I'm sure, about whether or not he's done enough to be issued a promotion, an invitation up into the Pro-Am split. Peter Foster was off the road there momentarily. There's William Yarwood holding 9th at the moment. Now that's on the road, pending whatever happens post-race for the incident with Johnny Simpson, of course. Rick Wagner sits 10th and holds the invert spot at the moment. Logan Griffin doing well to hold on to 11th, with Tim Watson breathing down his neck as well as they hit the back straight for the final time. Meanwhile, at the front, Jonathan Harris way too good here. An absolute demolition job. There are quite a few competitors that find themselves a lap down in this race as Harris makes his way around to see the checkered flag and take the victory. Well done, Jonathan Harris. Phenomenal performance. Steve Harvey, John Simpson are going to finish a lap down in all of that. 2nd is going to go to Martin Davis. 3rd to Alan McDonald, and 4th to Todd Suter. My screen is frozen. I'm hoping Daniel Yeaman can still hear me, but the screen has frozen. Now it's come good. I don't know what's going on, whether it's your end or mine, Dan. But it seems as though that's a very opportunistic moment for us to get off the air and go across and cover the Pro-Am split as we watch these guys cross the line. Extraordinary stuff from Jonathan Harris. Very, very dominant.
Indeed, yeah. Well, good news is that, yeah, didn't lose you for a moment on the microphone, so whatever it was, only affecting your side of the video, it seems. As our last couple of drivers on the lead lap will trickle across here to complete our results for the GT3 sprint race here tonight.
I'm glad you didn't lose me. Everything still making its way back through, a little bit grainy at the moment, but at least we did get to the finish. Hopefully it won't be an issue for the second race very shortly. The other point as well that I should make in all of that is that my SDK timing screen has just carked it. It said, I've had a gutful of this, I'm out. So I'll try and refresh that in the intermission as well. Jonathan Harris, Martin Davis, Alan McDonald, 10.4 the winning margin in the end, and in the end Davis held off McDonald. So once he found a way by, he broke well clear, 2.6 seconds in the end over Alan McDonald. Fourth for Todd Suter, Scott Wooden in for fifth, Dakin, Sharp, Miller, Yarwood and Wegner the top 10. No real change to the order on that final lap to what we had at the start of it. We did see Steve Harvey finish down there in 20th position. John Simpson has finished a lap down. That was the only mistake I made, just trying to correlate information there. Who was a lap down, who wasn't? It was John Simpson. And as you can see, there's still some penalties being handed out in the Pro-Am split at the moment, which is where we're going next. Yeah, very nice performance from Jonathan Harris. In the end, Ford, Porsche, Aston, McLaren, all in the top 10. Bodes well for the competitiveness of this series, the fact that we've got such great variety in the top half of the field. And another race win for Jonathan Harris. He's second of the campaign to join. Todd Suter's got a race win. Also there with, well, we had a race win handed out in round 3, but that driver got promoted up into the pro split, the Pro-Am split, I should say. That was, of course, Nathan Harvey. And last week in our first sprint round, we saw a race win for Mitchell Buckman first up, and also Martin Davis. So a second race win for Jonathan Harris. I don't think anyone else has got a second race win to their name so far this campaign. Different winners so far in the AM split. We'll see them back in action at St. Petersburg in a couple of weeks' time, if not the Red Bull Ring. We know we do have one more broadcast race from the AM split coming up later this term. A quick break here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Timing screen has fixed itself, so that's our opportunity to get out of here. We'll take a break, we'll come back, and when we do, we'll be with you live from Sandown for the feature, the Pro-Am service. Stay with us. Monday Night Motorsport, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Waste Options GT3, live, exclusive and free across Facebook and YouTube. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in. All around Australia or indeed the world this Monday night. The platform is the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We're at 11 o'clock on the land of the long white cloud in New Zealand. We're at 7 o'clock on the west coast, 9 o'clock here on the east coast, and we're turning our attention to the main course of the night, the feature race for GT3 Pro-Am, although it'll have to be good to beat the entertainment dished up by the AM split in the sprint race a few moments ago. Points table coming into this round, of course. All the post-round points will be with you at the end of the broadcast, we hope. We don't have live information from race 1 as yet, but we'll be able to give you some sort of an idea in a moment. Sean Benici, Matt Schmidtke, 12 points covered the top 2 coming into this round. 6 different manufacturers in the top 6. 3 Whiskey Business Racing entries in the top 5. Paul Wood, 371. Brad Coates, 356. Dane Snadden, 355. So what's that? 59 points covers the top 5 at the moment in this series. 311 for Jordan Pianazola, 297 for Neil de Brom. Joel and Hanson Thornwicket out tonight, and Greg Heaney, 241 make up the top 10. So it's about 173 points first to 10th. You've got Audi, and also the other 6 manufacturers that I've already mentioned there: McLaren, Lambo, Mercedes, Porsche, Ferrari, and Aston Martin in the top 10 at the moment, which bodes well for this series. And the first of the Fords not too far back either in Jackson Russ. So let's have a look at the results from qualifying firstly, to educate you on the form guide for tonight. Ethan Johnson, a bridge too good for anybody else. Up there in Angry Dutchman from Frog Leap, thank you. Come on, Frog Leap is the memo coming through there. Ethan Johnson, 0.143, clear of David Baz. Adam Lavis in for third. Matt Schmidtke, you're right, he's probably enjoying these GT3s. Matt Schmidtke, Greg Heaney, Dave Oliver, Dane Snadden, Carl James. James or James? I'm just wondering. James. Okay, interesting. And then normally the plural is James, not... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Wood and Zamora, the top 10 there. 0.7 covered the top 10. In fact, you go all the way down to Nathan Harvey. Top 18 covered by less than a second in qualifying. 106.118 was the pole marker. The warm-up is just about to complete. That gives us just enough time to whiz through the race run results for you. If we can go back up there, please, Daniel Yeoman, because we've got the 17th through 34th on your screen. Ethan Johnson converted beautifully. I dare say he'll be welcomed into the pro split in no time with a result like that. 12.4 seconds to the good of David Baz. Ahead of Matt Schmidtke, Adam Lavis, Dave Oliver, Kyle James, then Greg Heaney, Dane Snadden, Paul Wood, and Jordan Pianazola, the top 10. Which means Jordan grabs the invert pole position. We had, in the end, 24 drivers finish on the lead lap there. Service settings... 3:30 in the afternoon, 4 km/h winds, westerly direction, 21 the ambient, 37% humidity, 23 degrees on track, partly cloudy conditions. So we've avoided rain in Melbourne. Well, geez, that's a surprise. Jordan Pianazola and Paul Wood, the front row, Dane Snadden, Greg Heaney, the All Whiskey Business, second row, Kyle James, Dave Oliver, third row, Adam Lavis, Matt Schmidtke, fourth row, David Baz, Ethan Johnson, fifth row. Sixth row, David Baz on pit lane at the moment, so it looks like he's going to start there. Sixth row, Eduardo Zamora, Nathan Harvey. Seventh row, Neil de Brom, Brad Coates. Eighth row, Liam Amos. And Sean Benici. Ninth row, Dale Atkins, Thorn Wiggett. 10th row, Cooper Friend and Joel and Hanson. The 11th row, if we can flick over, because I've lost the timing screen relative there. Liam O'Connor and Jackson Russ. Then Jesse McMenamin. Down the order a fair bit from Isaac Curtis. Matthew Gerrard and Brett Bradbury, David Bernays, Callum Maxwell, Ben Goring, and Rob Fisher, the top 30. Cooper Friend copping a warning for an unsafe rejoin on car 051 on lap 10. I'm not sure if that's actually relevant because Thorne, I thought he said, wasn't in the... Anyway, it doesn't matter. David Bernays, Callum Maxwell, Ben Goring, Rob Fisher, then Scott O'Keefe, David Sarrow, Jacob McIntyre, and Callan Hodgkinson. That rounds out the order. We are set to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Thorn Wiggett is there. I don't know why I thought that he wasn't. Might have been just misinterpreting what he was saying there earlier. Ready to rock and roll. We are racing again at Sandown. I think it was he who actually said good luck to everybody in the Pro-Am split. Big field lining up there, and I've interpreted that wrong, as in I'm not there, but there's a big field lining up. But no, he is there, and he's sitting down in 18th spot at the moment. Good news is, ladies and gentlemen, we're away, we're clean. We've got 32 laps ahead of us, or 37 minutes, whichever comes first. Shouldn't need to deploy the safety car with any sort of luck. And up onto the back straight for the first time goes Jordan Pianazzola, trying to go like a scalded cat in the early part. The break clear, trouble at the back. Trouble at the back. Rob Fisher and Callan Hodgkinson. Here comes David Baz through after starting from pit lane. And Kyle Janes, turn 6, claims its first victim. That is a big one. So he's had the moment through 6, and then he's clouded into the wall on the exit of 8. And the wheel's gone. He's limping a 3-wheeler back to the lane. Look at the
It's actually completely come off. Don't see that too often.
Oh, hello to Marcus Ambrose if he's tuning in. Oh, more trouble. One of the frog leap entries. That's Matthew Gerard. So we've got a couple of cars on their way back to pit lane after the opening lap. A bit of carnage at Sandown. Whoa, Cooper Friend has been passed on the inside there and squeezed on through. Trying to get by Liam Amos. He's successfully navigated his way by Neil de Bruyn.
It took a couple of attempts there to get that one done at turn 1, but yeah, don't you worry, we're going back now to have a look at Cole James as a wild ride. And pick up that one again.
He's still trying to lift the pit lane. He's got there.
Taken a bit to get that through the last chicane with 3 wheels on his wagon. Don't you worry about that.
I didn't realise that the iRacing damage model was sophisticated enough now to actually... Paul Wood's off the road. Woodsy's gone. And well off the road at Dandenong. Bowls it wide. Soars through the kitty litter and limps back onto the racetrack and drops down to 25th position. So his hard charge is done. And something about sprint racing for Woodsy. 5th, 4th and 8th the first couple of weeks. 8th and 15th in the sprints last week, and nothing to write home about in this second race so far for Paul Wood. Manufacturer breakdown, have a look at this. Aston, Ferrari, Audi, Ford, Porsche, Lambo, all in the top 10 if you don't mind. Out beyond that, you've got Mercedes, you've got McLaren, you've got Chev, you've got BMW, that's 22nd. Damn, we don't have an Acura. We've got 10 manufacturers out there, not 11. But still, great variety and diversity here in GT3. That's what we like to see. Back straight again. And we can tell you that we've already seen a fair bit of pit lane activity. Kyle Janes has got back out there after 1.42 seconds on the tow rope. Matthew Gerard had to come in at the end of the second lap. Has now resumed after 4.35 seconds on pit road. David Baz started from pit lane, everybody else yet to stop. David Baz will have to transit the lane again. There's no way out of that for him. You cannot tick the box requirement of a compulsory pit stop before the race start, or by starting from pit lane. So in order to fulfill the requirements, he will have to transit the lane once more. Thorn Weggett's off the road. Thorn Weggett's plunging down the order. Oh dear. Parks right smack bang in the middle at the exit of turn 1. And they all miss him. Well done to all and sundry, but Weggett drops down as a result of that to position 31. Very lively in the early stages, but see, there's pros and cons to that, Dan. Look at how far the field has spread out already as a result of some of the incidents. Martin Lipsky's not even registering on our timing sheet at the moment, so I'm getting a false reading on him, and we know that Travis has a party, he's in race control, and I can see that Martin's actually there with him, so that would explain that. Whoa, look at that, Dave Oliver on the defence. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Ethan Johnson, forceful on the inside, almost up against the wall. Wow, Johnson on the comeback trail from the invert invoice of 10th. And now moves himself up into position number 4. Wowee. What the hell?
You know
that was giving off Barrichello and Schumacher vibes.
You know, the only reason I reckon Dave Oliver did that is that for the last 2.5, 3 laps that I've sort of been keeping an eye on this one between Johnson and Oliver, for no reason other than he hadn't gotten past, Johnson was using the headlight flash, which has been, I think, somewhat updated in a reasonably recent update to be a very aggressive stroke. And look, I get it, using the headlight flash is, I guess, part of the games that to some extent are permitted, but to the amount I was seeing from Ethan, I don't really think that was necessarily fair game. He wasn't being held up, he just wasn't getting a move done. And so I think, to be honest, from Dave, that was a fair move. There's been big trouble at the back of the field between Paul Wood, Scott O'Keefe, all down Dandenong Road, and more cars. McIntyre's front end there ripped off, and rear end ripped off.
It's happened again. There's more carnage as they were trying to resume. Scott O'Keefe left behind. You're right, though. That's going nowhere but the tow rope to the pit lane. Maxwell's in, Gorringe is in, Wood is in. All as a result of that, Dan. Oh, no, more trouble. Greg Heaney. And that'll be a long wait as well.
That's wedge.
Oh,
no, look at that left rear corner. That's done.
It's on the tow rope, isn't it? He's not going anywhere.
Well, it's not without... Yeah, no, that's tracking to the left when he wants to go to the right. That's going to be a go-nowhere scenario for him, unfortunately.
The Audi is done as well. Oh, I love racing at Sandown, but I'm not sure our cohort's actually going to be fond of it by the end of the night. Heaney's on the tow rope. Heaney is on the tow rope. Jackson Russ gets no further action for that incident with Cooper Friend in the last race. We're on lap 7 here, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching Jordan Pianazzola lead, but that lead has been shaved to half a second by Dane Snadden. Ethan Johnson now clear of Dave Oliver, moves to 3rd. Adam Lavis is 5th. Matt Schmidtke 6th. Eduardo Zamora and Nathan Harvey. Cooper Friend and Brad Coates the top 10. Can we speak about headlights for a moment? Nothing annoying me more at the moment as a road user than LED lights. From a safety standpoint, they need to bugger them off because they are nothing more than a health hazard. Because even on low beam, they look like high beam. They are obnoxious. I don't like LED lights. They can shove them sideways. Have a look at this just to check up. And unfortunately, the first of the Whiskey Business Racing entries there was the moving roadblock that everyone was ploughing into. And I just saw there, Scott O'Keefe.
Yeah, I think this starts with Scott O'Keefe here. I think let's watch this here again, Zach. Yeah, up the inside, a big lunge, and it gets into the side of the Whiskey Business BMW of Ben Gorringe, and seems to trigger all of this here. Oh, look at that broken left rear. So then O'Keefe goes to drive away, and he can't drive away from that.
And no secondary contact in that, as you say, it was the suspension damage that caused that.
And then,
jeez,
yeah,
there's a lot going on here.
And then this is what happened to Greg, and once again, Johnson on the headlights and lunge up the inside. That's probably going to get him in trouble. Let's try and get another angle of that one if I can. Maybe a bit higher up. Not that low down. I want higher angle shots so I know I have access to it. This one here, yeah. That's the angle I was looking for.
Far enough alongside. No.
Yeah.
That's not fair game. Can we take the onboard shot of that?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
From the car that's... This is Ethan Johnson. So Heaney was having a very smooth sort of run until this moment. Bang. Yeah.
At the rear axle, that's not going to fly.
Definitely not alongside the B pillar. Or little on the A pillar, but at the same time, it's an invitation. Let's get a better look at that car, actually, as he closes in on Dane Snadden and Jordan Pianazzola now. The link's in the bio, ladies and gentlemen. Ethan Johnson, I reckon he's heading nowhere but the pro split next week with this sort of pace.
He's definitely got the speed for it. It's whether he might have a couple of reprimands on this race result. Once again, it's purely a mind games thing at this point to attempt to be distracting.
Yeah. It's like a bloody lightsaber.
And yeah, just quite literally rattling off the flashes as fast as the system can do. Like, obviously, look, good pace there into Dandenong Road and everything, but like, you're still not in a position to make a move. You just irritate people by doing this, and we saw what Oliver chose to do with it. This time, though, Snadden doesn't protect the final chicane, and a drag race should go the way of Johnson up the inside here into turn 1.
Sadly, Eduardo Zamora's on the tow rope and all of that, but Brad Washer wins comment of the night as far as I'm concerned. I love it. It's true. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you see that emblem and that wording, all you're waiting for next is the famous, inevitable Snapchat promotion or Instagram promotion that says, Lincoln Bow! And now he's looped it and screwed himself!
Not that it's my place to necessarily call on the broadcast, but it's just a little bit of karmic justice being served out. And he's going to get pinged. He's going to be called in for the rejoin there, right on Nathan Harvey's nose for good measure.
100%, 100%. So Harvey's getting pushed along here as well.
They won't clear him here, though. He's going to have the inside at 6. Harvey commits. He's out in the weeds. Slow down for Harvey. He'll have to serve.
So Harvey's been
sacrificed,
unfortunately compromised in all of that, and it released the pressure on Jordan Pianazzola and Dane Snadden. Dave Oliver, Adam Lavis and Matt Schmidtke are the next 3 through. Then Ethan Johnson, Cooper Friend, Brad Coates, Nathan Harvey loses 3 positions in all of that, plus the one to Johnson, so 4. And now he's blinky billing, just about insult to injury. We're on to lap 11, and we're going to have fun with the double entendres for the remainder of the night, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you. Kyle James has got back out after his earlier incident, 29th position. David Saro from the United States. Actually, how about that? We've got a couple of US representatives in tonight. We've got Aussies, Kiwis, and of course Eduardo Zamora from Chile. Although Zamora's parked up and done. Callan Hodgkinson showing off the road at the moment. And again, the relentlessness of Ethan Johnson on the headlight flash at the moment. Look at it. It's going off like a strobe on a dance floor. Except we've actually got decent music.
No.
By comparison, that's Dane Snadden. I was a bit worried about the rejoin there for a moment, but he was just getting far enough off the wall to flick it back the other way.
All right.
Jeff, is that Jeff Adams? That would be, wouldn't it? Yes. Tuning in right now. In comes Liam Amos. Oh, dear. We're running our keep in this race, Dan. There's a lot going on.
Find that one crash for Kyle James first up at turn 6 for Dane Snadden's incident. And for a bit of light reading, I quickly tried to scrub through the club rules. And actually, there is no reference to headlights or headlight flashing currently in the club rules available on the website, which I will admit, a little fascinating. I thought that was the kind of thing that would definitely have been covered off.
Can I suggest that it might not be too long before that changes based on what we're hearing so far and what's being said and obviously what we're seeing on the screen. It might be a little bit like the underarm incident. Remember the underarm in 1981? I mean, I wasn't born by that point, but I've read enough about it and seen enough about it in the game of cricket and all the archives and everything else. That was Dane Snadden. Bang. Hard hit for Dano. There was someone else parked there, wasn't there? Yeah,
that's exactly
what... $1. Was it? No.
That's what I need to try.
Surely not.
I'm going to go back to cue this one up again, and we're just going to flip forward to try and find that. Hodgkinson.
Callan Hodgkinson, yep.
And he was out of there, that's why we couldn't find him. Callan just making my life a little harder than it needed to be, but fair enough at that point, I guess.
Brad Washer with the comedy. No, keep going, please. It's great. Jackson Russ in 15th at the moment. The interesting thing for mine in all of this, right? It might be that whole gentlemanly etiquette thing, and obviously that gentleman's agreement in the game of cricket. The underarm wasn't outlawed in the game. It was just, an etiquette sort of ruling. Until, of course, the fact that it wasn't in the rule book was exploited by the Australians on February 1, 1981. And they very quickly... Oh, no, there goes Liam O'Connor off the right live as we watch that. He's going to drop down behind Brett Bradbury, David Baz and Jesse McMenamin and rejoining 18th ahead of Rob Fisher. But can I suggest that, yes, because everyone's happy to find a loophole these days, I don't like the way in which we go about over-policing and just finding ways to include more rubbish in the way of rules in the rule book, just, for the sake of it, just to give officials, and I'm talking Motorsport Australia and the other mob that sanction motor racing in this country that I won't mention by name on broadcast. But it just gives, the officials more to keep an eye on and more to throw the book at people. But in this particular instance, I would argue that because it is a gentlemanly etiquette thing and because it's already been something that's been brought to race control's attention, maybe there will be something written into the club regulations about headlight flashing in the future. So Liam O'Connor there in 16th at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that, Dan. I think that's one of those little subplots that will stay across as the season goes on. Brad Coates there in 6th spot at the moment. Ethan Johnson's back up in 5th now, chasing down Matt Schmidtke and Adam Lavis.
Oh, he's got the back of them again.
At that.
Yeah.
Let's have a look and see how quickly those headlights start. Yep, there it is. Right there. So already Schmidtke's going to be alerted to the fact that Ethan Johnson's breathing down his neck and distracted by that, no doubt. He's focusing on Adam Lavis at the moment. And these two are on any other night of the week teammates, but this is the one night of the week where Schmidty runs the Whiskey Business Racing colours. He'll be in the Aussie Races stable on Wednesday night and Thursday night in the Porsche Cup. He'll be here with me for Formula V. Yeah, now he's got a mirror full of the strobe light of Ethan Johnson to contend with as well. And you can speak from real racing experience here, Dan Yeaman, as far as your own iRacing exploits are concerned. He might have the flash button mapped to something else in another app and not realise. Just needs to be asked to have a more gentlemanly attitude towards his driving, says Jeff Adams. There'll be plenty of interesting comments and everyone will have an opinion on that. But from your standpoint, when you go racing and when it happens, and I'm not suggesting that would happen very regularly when someone with your pace is out there doing what he does, but how distracting and off-putting can it be? Because it is a tactful thing. It is a deliberate racecraft from the drivers that are getting on the high beam.
It's one of those things where it's actually very rare that I see it these days. Yeah, he'll fly up the inside of your turn 6. He is far and away the fastest car on single lap speed currently on circuit. So, yes, he's just making his way back through the field. Funnily enough, it's sort of the thing where, like, in this day and age, I don't often see the headlight flash used in single class racing. Well, I should say Lavis will peel to the pit lane first compulsory stop. So that clears the road some more. And now you've got a mile of open. Get out of the road. That's a 5 odd seconds. He's on the button. Just
yeah. I'm starting to think that Brad might have a point, because no need to have given the distance that he had there between Dave Oliver and himself, and round 2, ding ding, ladies and gentlemen, based on what we saw earlier from that pair. We still haven't seen a replay of how close they came to making contact with the Armco. But yeah, look at him. He's on the button already. And Dave Oliver probably wouldn't be getting a great look at that just yet, because it was 150, 200 metres up the road. But that won't take long to diminish, and that will no longer be the case. Dave Oliver will eventually know that, yes, Ethan Johnson's coming for round 2.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, right now it's actually technically a bit of a... It's not a defined rule anywhere. You'd have to then probably defer back to the iRacing Sporting Code and dig around to see if anything's there. If you wanted to go and have a look at it. But I guess trying to come to the summary of what I guess I was trying to get a point on there is that it's not something I particularly see too much of outside of multi-class racing, where the headlight flash is more explicitly just a straight statement of, if you are the faster class car, signaling I want to make my pass on you into a given corner. Whereas, in single class racing, it's more of a distraction utility. It's just, there's usually standards around, or statements and points around, like how much you can use it and when you should be using it, kind of stuff. Because this is now looking like every major straight is on it, and that's now extended to 3-4 seconds. That's being activated for.
It's like a push-to-pass button activation almost.
Kinda?
Yeah.
Still,
I'm just trying to compare how often, you know, when push-to-pass is being activated, how often that would be for. By the way, last time through, folks, Matt Schmidtke came in, so too did Nathan Harvey and Sean Benici, just to stay across what's going on pit road, and Dane Snowden's in at the end of lap 18 as well.
But like, yeah,
Ben Gorringe might be in trouble. Dan, sorry to jump in again. Ben Gorringe might be in a little bit of trouble, mate. He's been on the top. He's been on pit lane for 28 seconds.
Let's pick this up.
So whether that's an unsafe pit entry or not,
I have to try to go back a bit further, perhaps. Yes.
So Gorringe coming onto pit road. It's 44.98 seconds. So it's clear that he's been slugged for an unsafe pit entry.
Oh yeah,
could be speed.
He was up around 70 plus k's an hour on entries. Speed limit here is 60 in the iRacing world.
Flush it out.
Excuse me there. Yeah, sorry, I should have gone for the mute button rather than sneeze.
All good. Okay, so 10 kilometres an hour over the speed limit. He's paid the price with a 35-second invoice there, we reckon. That's unlucky. Here's Ethan Johnson again. Too close for comfort with Dave Oliver.
Yeah. I don't think Dave's going to be too impressed with that, with the way he tried to try to defend the spot. Let's maybe try and pick that one up a little bit if we can.
At what point does this ignite the fire in Dave Oliver's belly and he just sends him as payback?
Yeah, okay, there we go again. There's no one in front of him. Yeah. Something about that is now, okay.
Off. Yeah, it just doesn't,
That doesn't quite match up. Like, why would he be on the button if he had literally no one in front for 4.5 seconds? Again, as always, all of a short straightaway away. Like, it's... I now convert this into a question of this seems incorrectly mapped because it's going off. Yeah, it's still going.
Thinky Bill there. Yeah,
it's seemingly tied to something to do with the accelerator as well because he comes off throttle, comes back on the throttle. But then like you say that, but there you go. Throttle sections there and there between turns 1, 2, 3. Doesn't use it.
Here it goes. All right, keep an eye for this. It'll go through the kink, and then next minute, I reckon it'll be activated any tick at the clock. But you're right, something doesn't seem straightforward with regards to it.
But there it is again, just using whatever cars I can get my hands on. It's
and Thorn's a lap down.
Almost every straight.
Yeah. This is really bizarre stuff. Although that being said, and don't ask me how I know this, ladies and gentlemen, but the term that keeps coming to mind, and it's on point with the branding on the car at the moment, is flashlight.
We'll leave that one for now.
Good. I thought you would. I'm glad you did, but I waited until 7:30 Western time to say it too, so I'm in the clear there.
Are you really though?
Jordan Pianazzola, Dave Oliver, Brad Coates, Neil de Bruin and Ethan Johnson, the top 5. I said there was going to be some double entendres tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't say they were going to be good. Down the main straight we go. Out comes Ethan Johnson now. Back out onto the racetrack. How quickly will he be back on the button, though? That's what remains to be seen here. And he is the best placed of anyone to a stop for the moment. He's 30 seconds off Jordan Pianazzola, who continues to lead this race from Dave Oliver. So Oliver remains on track for a solid result here. I'm interested to see where Matt Schmidtke and Adam Lavis emerge in the grand scheme of things, considering that Jesse McManaman is the last to have not stopped yet in the running order, down in 6th position. Jeff Adams is reporting that the flashing has been brought to the attention of race control. Johnny Harris, what time's the Pro-Am doing? Well, who's a fair reflection for Pro-Am at the moment? Certainly not your race leader, Ethan Johnson, but most of them are in the, 108s, 107s?
Pianazzola's best time, 7.0. Dave Oliver is 6.99. De Bruin a 7.23. Brad Coates a 7.3. Ethan's the only outlier at a 6.45. Really, out of that lot. So these are low 107s. The fair estimate. There we go. Dale Oliver just behind this group.
I want to highlight the point. Oh God. I want to highlight the point that I'm a bit concerned about how Johnny Harris's second race went in the AM split, considering the comment came from him.
Yeah, fair point. There's the lunge up the inside for Johnson, going to clear McMenamin and try and get after Dale Atkins. Mind you, of course, Atkins out of sequence, needing to stop being ticked off toward the end of the race.
That is the entire length of the back straight. I don't think Pro-Am are going to have to contend with Ethan Johnson much beyond this week, but it's certainly going to be a talking point for the balance of the season. Car wall, unfortunately. Thank you, John. Appreciate that, mate. Bad luck, but hey, well done on the result with the Formula 3s and the final lap squabble with Bondi, and also the win in race 1 in GT3, mate. Very nice, solid effort from you tonight, I thought. Just unable to finish it off. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Jesse McMenamin to pit lane, and just Dale Atkins left to cleanse the field here. Having a look at retirements so far, Callan Hodgkinson, Eduardo Zamora and David Bernays, all out of business. Lap 24 of 32, three-quarter race distance, 75% marker for those that need to finish to score points. Bit like Matthew Gerard, who's 6 laps down at the moment and was on pit road for 5 3/4 minutes. Through that, well, it won't, John, if you get promoted from M, you're also hoping that you can actually avoid car walls. There's no good being promoted when you're going to register a DNF, mate, but hopefully the win will, in race 1 will help with that mission. There goes Dale Atkins being relegated to 3rd by Ethan, and immediately back on the flash.
Oh, Dale, you give a flash reply.
Cheeky from Dale. Yeah, cheeky from Dale. I like it. There you go. Have a bit of your own backside. Off you go. Thanks for coming. And Dale straight back into pit lane. I won't be seeing him for the rest of the night. I'll flash him while I got the chance, he says. How good. Now, Matthew Gerard, 6 laps down for some reason, the Frog Leap Juice Racing entry. So he's down in 31st position, but as long as he continues, trouble for one of the Whiskey Business Racing entries coming back onto the main straight. And we'll rego that one in just a moment. Dane Snowden. Yeah. He's second off for this race, Dan, I think. Just to finish the point, as long as Matthew Gerard stays on track, he'll finish 5-6 laps down, but at least he'll be classified at 75% race distance. Oh, we got some help. Snowden got some help from, was that the Frog Leap?
No, it's
stable. No,
it's the Revolution.
AITX Revolution. So Brad Coates, and also correct. And apologies there, folks, because I'm on a colour association for some reason. I went to the wrong stable there, so apologies for that. Here's Liam Amos in 7th. Interesting stuff. Not Matty's night tonight, no, agreed. And here comes Brad Coates onto the main straight. So there'll be a question mark over his result here with that incident with Dane Snowden. And race control have been kept busy in this second race, Dan. Really busy, but that's, par for the course with Sandown whenever you have a big field and a short racetrack and one where it is no stranger to producing plenty of action and plenty of points around the circuit in which you can, witness that. No surprise to see everybody working hard for their keep tonight.
Just to put the race controls in busy in perspective, if I'm reading what we can of the chat thread correctly since we joined after the sprint race session in the AM server, we've had penalties from appear to have been race 1 come through, and I think I've seen my first message regarding race 2 because we've gone from a lap 13 incident to a lap 1 incident all of a sudden. So it does seem to tell a bit of a tale.
The obnoxiousness of Johnson with the flash again. He was still beyond a second away from Pianazzola. That won't take long to diminish. And whatever happens here, I think Pianazzola's inheriting race 2 supremacy, because there's nothing here suggesting that Ethan Johnson shouldn't be and won't be promoted up into the pro split for next week. At the start of the second half of the season, and a return to 60-minute racing as well. We go back to 60 minutes for the next 2 weeks. Sebring, then Magny Cours. One of those will produce an absolute banger of a race, and the other is in France. And then we go to St. Petersburg, which I'm really looking forward to, being the newest stop on the tour. Then to the Red Bull Ring in Austria, then to the Circuit de la Sarthe. So 2 stops in France, 2 in the United States, and 1 in Austria in the remaining 5 weeks of the campaign. Radcoats. Schmitty in the Lambo chasing down Mr. Oliver. Thank you, Jeff Adams, for letting that to our attention. Ethan Johnson's within striking distance to Jordan Pianazzola as well.
It's been one of the ones I've been keeping some tabs on. It's sort of a holding pattern for now, and they're very similar on pace. So I still need something going either way in substantial matters to turn things around. But yes, this has gotten close enough. And if this was the first time he was doing it, maybe now I'd excuse Ethan Johnson's headlight flashing. But even then, it's the entire straightaway.
And it's a whole race, and there'll be a lot of tempers flaring at the moment, Dan. Here it is.
Better through 6. Watch for the inside dive here. Oh, good defense from Pianazzola. Gets him crossed up, but then he's tight through Dandenong Road. And now for the outside-inside here at the last chicane, as the return headlight flash from Pianazzola. He's clearly heard or seen it in his own mirror. And actually, he's going to hold it through the chicane. Don't disrupt your own run through the corners just to be able to give the man a taste of his own medicine back, as he then proceeds to do his own headlight flash to clear air.
I don't mind that tit for tat, though.
Oh,
I don't mind that. I like it.
At this point, I feel, yes, we've departed all semblance of reason. In fact, yeah. Well, Peter's always found a way to stick the button on whilst he keeps driving and not distracting himself from driving too much. I just want him to have a decent chance of maybe getting one last shot back at Johnson here. But for the final 4 laps of this one here.
Oh, dear.
Zach, looks like... Pianazzola's going
to
match.
Sarro's got a black flag as well, by the way. So that'll be, a bit of an invoice coming the way of David Sarro. He'll need to clear that with race control. He'll need to transit the pit lane to clear the incident point penalty he's acquired.
Yeah, it's been a rough night for him here.
That might have been the moment too.
This spin, I suspect, would probably be the one they did it in. At the very least, 2 points for loss of control.
Yes. Craig Bond standing by as well, so the AM split's already wrapped up. The pro split's already wrapped up and done. We'll get to you very shortly, mate. We're obviously, if you've tuned into Mr. Yeaman's stream, you'll know that we're in the closing stages here of the Pro-Am feature. 3 laps to go, folks. 3.5 minutes on the clock, so that's not going to be an issue. Johnson, Pianazzola, Oliver, Schmidtke and Lavis, the top 5. 4 different manufacturers in the top 5. None of which are McLaren or Mustang, which, neither of which are, because Adams in the Mustang, McLaren or what's the other one that's been dominating throughout the course of the term, Lamborghini. So we've got, I've just lost total thread there of what I was saying. But no McLaren's up the top of the order, no Aston Martin outside.
Outside of Pianazzola, yes. So you get Neil de Bruin in 11th.
No BMW in the top 10 at the moment. I'm sure I'm missing one that's just sitting on the tip of my tongue that I can't actually think of.
No Acuras present in Pro-Am this week.
No, correct.
We haven't.
Yes, no.
Have some Audis
no
in the hand.
McLaren's was the one that I was thinking of. Yeah.
McLaren's are present, but not. Yeah, best place is Sean Benici here in 14th.
And no Merc in the top 5 is what I was trying to...
Yeah,
it was McLaren and Merc I wanted, yes.
Yeah, best
in the top
Merc.
5.
Yeah, there you go, indeed. The top 5 being 2 Porsches, a Lambo, Aston, and Mustang.
Yes, and Mustang. I knew it was an M. I just got the wrong one. Fair income. When it rains, it pours, ladies and gentlemen. I've just had an absolute shocker there. I do apologise. And the whole thing is because I was trying to make a comparison to the pro split, where, of course, McLaren had been the dominant force for a while, and now, of course, the flavour of the month is that Mercer v. Donaldson. He's been doing great things over the last couple of weeks. We are on the final lap. Ethan Johnson is going to carve this one up, ladies and gentlemen. There'll be some serious question marks asked after the fact about driver etiquette and a few other things tonight. There's a couple of questionable incidents that are going to be reviewed by race control, but nonetheless, Ethan Johnson's going to do the double eventually. Caught up in the incident, caused another one, tripped himself up at one point, has produced us with given us a wonderful opportunity to provide some double entendre comedy, both in the comments thread in the commentary box as well. Here's David Baz fighting for position number 11 and getting past Neil de Bruin. Next target, Nathan Harvey. Brad Coates is holding on to 9th at the moment. And Porsche, Aston, Lambo, Ford in the top 5, as we mentioned there. 5 different teams in the top 5. Really strong performance. Ethan Johnson at the front of it. And I'm not sure which teams he's part of either, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got no information relating to that on our screen right now. But it doesn't matter because he's carved up and done the double here at Sandown. If he does get an invoice for that incident earlier, then different story. He may have an invoice to pay, and that would inherit the win in the direction of Jordan Piazzolla. Spin at the end for Cooper Friend. And he's going to drop down to 10th, maybe 11th. David Baz with the late lunch for the line for 10th. To add insult to injury on Cooper Friend, and he does. David Baz right at the end. Ethan Johnson's just lighting it up on the main straight.
I think someone either just crashed out avoiding him or crashed into him there with that one.
No idea. So the carnage continues after the race for you, ladies and gentlemen. And don't worry, everything we've discussed tonight is on the record, and everything that's been alerted to our attention tonight. I dare say someone at club level, at committee level, will be going back and having a skim of the book. There's Dane Snadden. Unfortunately, he was the one that crashed in. That was after, of course, crossing the line in position number 13. So Johnson the winner. Piazzolla in for second. Great run from the Aston Martin. Dave Oliver in the Porsche for third. And I cannot wait to hear from D. Oliver and all of that. Matt Schmidtke for Whiskey Business Racing, Adam Lavis for Oz E-Races, and then Isaac Curtis, Liam Amos, Brad Coates, Nathan Harvey, and David Baz, the top 10. And it begs the question, Dan. Obviously, there'll be discussion had about the headlight flashing, and then I think the secondary discussion, based on what we just saw there, and even SVG's team had to remind him recently about where that is permissible and what the post-race procedure is with regards to cool-down laps and the like before you go lighting it up in celebration and all that sort of stuff. As you have a look at the results on your screen there, folks, and we'll leave them up because I'll come back to those in a moment. We'll delve into them further. But I think the secondary discussion will... So if we have found any potential loopholes or things that haven't been directly addressed and stipulated in our rule book, I think they will be in the next 7 to 10 business days. First one being driver etiquette with regards to headlight flashing, and then second one will be how soon after the checkered flag, a la not 50 metres, before you can actually conduct your celebratory burnouts and donuts, etc.
Yes.
Any thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, no, those are the two things that'll definitely be worth a check into there.
Oh, okay, and now straight into the chat thread on YouTube as well. Interesting way of going about it. Okay, maybe I was going to say burn the chat thread for the balance of the night, Yeoman. Or But then again, I think it might be lively and interesting and add to the post-race show fanfare. So maybe leave it up. And if it gets a little bit ugly, then we can bin it. I don't know.
Turns out
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, look, as it turns out, I have moderating powers, so I've given Ethan a bit of a cool off. He can't talk in the YouTube chat for the next little bit, so he can come and talk to us if he wants to. About the racing, nevertheless.
Yes, correct. Yes. And at that particular point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one that'll be getting moderated. Don't worry about that. But let's actually talk about some motor racing for a moment. You've already seen the results on your screen there, folks. Great result for Ethan Johnson, of course. Dominant performance, 2 from 2. Asterisk next to the end of the second race, only because of that incident with Greg Heaney. But apart from that, all above board. We will hear from Craig Bond now, because Bondy's been sitting there waiting patiently with regards to how everything played out in his split tonight, which is the pro split these days, and of course get his thoughts on Formula 3, which is saw live here on the platforms of the GSRC throughout the course of the early part of the evening, and we'll come back and dissect and analyse the rest of the Pro-Am stuff a little bit later on. We'll hope to have some updated championship points and other information, bits and pieces to pass on your way before we get off air tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but that'll depend very much on what's going on internally at the moment, because there's a couple of discussions going on in race control that I can see here, and they could be ongoing for a little while. And also there's a fair bit of discussion to be had with regards to post-race penalties and how they're applied, and it's a timely process is what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, with Adam Lavis crunching all of those manually after the fact. So how long we stay here compared to how long it takes him to dissect all of that for us will determine very much whether or not we are able to bring you all that up-to-date championship points information across the 3 splits and also Formula 3 in this broadcast. And if we can't, of course, come back on Wednesday night and join us there. Waste Options GT3 Pro.
Since you mentioned
27 cars lining up there. Are these the results from
qualifying? Yeah, I thought since we didn't obviously cover anything from...
Can we just go to the top?
Yes, we sure can.
Thank you, sir. Bondi, I see there mid-pack. Bo Cubis on top from Matty Dench, Eli Donaldson, Daniel Edmonds and Richard Mitchum. Good to see Mitchum back in the server. Then Tony Baker, Luke Turner and Alan Holgerson made up the top 8. Heat 1. Cubis doubling up and winning, but look who pushed him all the way. Look at that, Matty Dench. Very nice to have him back. 0.21 the margin there. Eli Donaldson in for 3rd and Richard Mitchum in for 4th. Daniel Evans, Luke Turner, Jaden Draper, Jason Wilkinson and James McKnight, with Daniel Cheney in 10th position. Luke King, Paul Rogers, Aaron Major, Andrew Neal and Derek Fitzgerald took us back to 15th. We're about to chat to Bondi. Where'd he end up in race 1, please? Down there in 25th position. Not looking too crash hot in race 1, 3 laps down. Let's have a look at the results from race 2. Eli Donaldson standing by, so too Ethan Johnson. I'll remind everybody at this point in time that A, we're a family-friendly program, and B, we need push to talk activated before you can have a chat in here with us. Race 2, there he is, back on top, continuing his winning ways. The Merc on fire at the moment, and a 3rd race win in this campaign for Eli Donaldson. Denchi, the perennial bridesmaid at the moment, and if he needs to know or how to feel about that, he can have a chat to Benny Snell, because Benny's been playing that role beautifully at the moment on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Daniel Edmonds, Luke Turner, Paul Rogers, Daniel Cheney, James McKnight, Richard Mitchum, Tony Baker and Alan Holgerson, the top 10. And Harrison Den Brinker was down there in 11th. Major, Fitzgerald, Wilkinson, Luke King, then Bondi in for 16th. So at least he did finish that second race. And a good, strong turnout as well, numbers-wise, Dan, I thought. The numbers strong right across the board tonight. Mid to the high 30s for the Pro-Am split, low 20s for the Am split, high 20s for the Pro split. Sandown was always going to produce a big grid across the board.
Yeah, looks to have done the trick here across all the splits this week, which, a good sign for mid-season numbers. as we get ready to talk about that second half of the season here for the club.
All right. Eli, Ethan, Greg Heaney coming to you guys very shortly. Greg here, of course, part of the Pro-Am split. Yes, let me tick Bondi off first because he was here first and he's been waiting patiently. Want to talk about his Formula 3 exploits and then cover GT3 with you guys. And then we'll rip through this as best we can and hope to be able to bring you some up-to-date information from the night that was in terms of what it means for the overall picture before we sign off here. A lot going on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, a lot to wrap our head around, a lot of discussions to be had after the fact. It's been a busy Monday night. Bondi, well done. John O'Harris arrives for the first time in Formula 3 and takes until the final sector of the final lap to pip you for what could have been another podium, and it would have been your third race podium on the trot in that series, but still, fourth, when it's been a battle for third and beyond all season, is not too bad. Sum it up for me, what your thoughts were with regards to Spa, because, again, even though it is Jono's first appearance in the series this term and he's gone third, you've done your hopes of a championship podium. No harm whatsoever with fourth.
Yeah, good evening, Zach and Dan. Chaotic Club 1 in F3, wasn't it? I don't know why I was trying to hold it around the outside for goddamn an entire sector, and down the inside 3 wide, and yeah. I'm surprised no one had a heart attack. But yeah.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned lap 1. Let me come back to that and then you can finish telling me about the rest of the race. Did you sustain any damage in any of that?
No, and I don't know how, and I've got a car flipping over the top of my car. So
exactly. That was my thought as well. Can you actually elaborate? Because I never saw it on broadcast. We never got a chance to come back and have a look at it. What happened at the next corner for Alex Tzikis? Because obviously the Northwind entry flipped over the top. It got squeezed between the pair of you. It flipped over the top, exit stage left on the tow rope. Then the next corner, we see Alex Tzikis in the dirt, and you're all of a sudden flying free on your lonesome. Any contact there, or did Alex do it all on his own?
Okay, so I watched the replay like real quick because I didn't want to waste time watching it.
Oh.
My understanding is I kept it too wide from the very first corner all the way up through the track, blah, blah, blah. Dropped a wheel coming out of the right-hander coming down the hill, which made us 3 wide. And then I think it was Jaden Draper was in the middle. I think him and Alex made contact on the inside of me, which sent the Northwind one over the top of my car, barrel rolling, and somehow I didn't sustain damage. And then the next corner, I don't know who it was, but Dave went between me and Alex and lost the rear and made contact with Alex, pushing him into the gravel, and I just went free. I thought I was at fault, or I had something to do with both. Looking at replay, I didn't. So I'm happy about that.
Sum up the rest of the race for me, because it was fairly tame after that until John O'Harris made you work very hard on the final lap.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Mark. He was my saving grace. He could have overtaken me way earlier in the race, but instead he would just bump draft me down the Kemmel Straight, which really appreciated that, because otherwise I think I would have been down the order. But, yeah, that kept me in the fight. Went for Mark pitted, then I pitted after him, trying to cover off the undercut. Got a second, I think. 1.5 seconds on him, which was really nice for me. And then, I think it was Jonathan came in pits the next lap, and I got in front of him then, held P3, and then final lap he just had to run, I think. But yeah, he overtook me down the Kemmel Straight. I've overtaken him back into the corners after Kemmel Straight, whatever they're called, and I think we went 2 wide for a bit. Then I got my position back to 3rd, and then I just couldn't hold him off into the final corner. But yeah, it was a bloody good battle.
It was a fascinating battle. It had the commentary box on the edge of its seat. Don't worry about that. And thank you to Daniel Yeaman for his quick work on the fly tonight, with alerting you to who you're hearing from in this post-race show. I love those subtle little new introductions that we introduce here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Our producers and directors do a magnificent job. Bondi, that's a great result, mate, and it bodes well for the second half of your season in Formula 3. You're putting some good results together, and it seems as though you've found a car that suits you.
I hate the guts out of the F3. I'd much rather bring back the SFL, but I'll deal with it. We can argue for that at the end of the season heading into next term, which hopefully we do.
So you're already lobbying for a change for next term, are you?
Yes, I want TCRs back. I want SFL. What else do I want? I want to have Super 2 and Supercars on a Wednesday night. I want keep Peak up on the thing. I'm happy with the Endurance Championship, just make a few tweaks and maybe add another car series in that. But yeah, I can't pick everything, so...
For your sake, I hope Greg Heaney had his pencil and notepad out, jotting all of that down, taking your recommendations on board. But if not, feel free to plead your case with him at a later point in time. GSRC committee meets, once a week, once a fortnight. I don't know what it is these days, but they meet regularly and discuss these things. And they love ideas being put forward by their members. But whether they can keep 500 of you pleased in any given week, in any given month, I'm not sure. And I appreciate the enthusiasm in which you've pleaded your case there. That undercard, top billing sort of vibe on a Wednesday night, hard to do, obviously, with so many of our pro V8 Pro competitors, of course, only here when it's not competing directly against the preeminent supercar series in this country from a sim racing standpoint. Let's talk GT3. Race 1 not crash hot, but at least you were able to see the checkered flag in race 2.
Yeah, stupid mistake coming into turn 6 on lap 1 from me trying to go too wide and ended up losing the rear and putting the car in the wall. So got it back to the pits, had to go down 3 laps to repair damage. I think it was like 3 minutes. And yeah, it wasn't great, kind of embarrassing, annoying, disappointing, but just like last week, race 2 I came back stronger and showed my pace, played a really good strategy to get me back up into 16th, which I'm super happy with, and yeah, just classic GT3s for me.
Any incidents, any drama to contend with during that second race, or was it smooth enough?
Smooth enough for me, I'm pretty sure. I went for a really nice move in Danny Dong, went down the inside of Nick Wood and then got up the inside of an Aston Martin, and yeah, that's what put me in 16th. So that was my highlight of the night, other than F3. So yeah,
yes,
pretty chill actually.
Indeed, and also, I guess you've been in pro long enough, as you say now, but still, it's a dagger in the heart, isn't it? You're learning the hard way just how much you've got to bring to the table as a pro competitor, because there's nowhere to hide when you don't have a fast repair waiting for you on pit road.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but pro is... I heard you trying to demote me back to AM earlier, Zach. It's okay. I'm not going to ignore that bit.
Sorry, did I? I apologise.
Yeah, you
there's
said
a lot going.
I was from AM. Yep.
Oh, sorry, I do apologise.
I'm so heartbroken.
We've been covering AM and Pro-Am all night, so my wires are crossed, mate. I wasn't trying to be insulting. It was just a slip of the tongue. But I know you won't let me forget about it. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll hear about that after the fact. And you probably should. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because now I've got more airtime to have a crack at you next week, so that'll be good. Now straighten up and get yourself out of trouble. Dig up by talking to me about what your thoughts are on the double S next Monday night. By which I mean Suzuka for Formula 3 and Sebring for GT3.
That sounds fun.
Oh, okay. Short, sharp, and sweet.
Yeah, no, nothing more to add on that. That should be a fun night, I hope. Usually that's the case in the way. So, let's just be careful there. So.
Correct. How much work have you put into Sebring? To St. Petersburg, I should say, because that is the next stop on Wednesday night. And, of course, we've got it in this series in 3 weeks' time as well. So we're going to see a bit of St. Pete in the back half of the season.
I've done no practice there, to be honest, in this car. I've done a bit in an Indy car, I've done a bit in a TCR car, and that's about it. So rock up, have some fun. To be fair, I don't have a job, so tomorrow can be that practice if I feel like it. But going back to Pro Split, you asked me something earlier about it. I really do enjoy it because it means I've got to put all my stuff together to not make an embarrassment of myself, and it's teaching me way more racecraft techniques, etc., on how to be quick. So yeah. And
I hazard a guess that one of our guests here in the central commentary position is actually going to be out there in the thick of it with you next week. It's getting harder, isn't it, to work your way up towards the top with some of the pro drivers and fast competitors of the sim racing world arriving here on a Monday night and arriving in the Pro Split, mate. I get the feeling that Ethan Johnson's going to be out there next week because of what we saw from him in Pro-Am tonight. And we're talking purely from a pace standpoint there. For his and everybody else's benefit as well. Don't come after me. I'm just running with the narrative of what's been the standard procedure here for the last few years. But how do you enjoy that challenge with, one or two more drivers each and every week, fortnight, season arriving in the Pro Split, making the goalpost just that little bit taller?
It is great. Hopefully, though, each time I'm getting a bit better week in, week out. I'm definitely learning a few more things with setup every week I go, because I don't go buying setups for anything I do on the sim. It's all done in-house by me, so it's mainly me just learning new techniques on how to make a car go quicker and learning stuff which seems pretty useful. Don't know how similar it is to a real car. I'm assuming it's pretty similar if it's iRacing, so...
Indeed. Now the comments keep coming in with regards to Pro-Am. We'll get back to that later. We'll hear from Ethan Johnson for his double race win in just a moment. But Bondi, St. Pete Wednesday. Looking forward to that. Would you care to elaborate on why you're unemployed at the moment, or not?
Well, there is no reason why I got fired. So, yeah.
Did you or did you not tell work to get stuff so you could go for a trip to Wollongong? Is that true?
No, that kind of just filling them all up, okay? Like, they covered my shift without giving me any notice. I'm like, well, if you've got someone doing my shift, I'm not needed. I'm going to walk out, and Dad had a job to sit Wollongong, so I went with him. And, yeah.
I love the confidence of a 16-year-old just saying, you know what, if you don't need me, I know my place. Get stuff. See you later. 17. Sorry, I love it. 15. When did you turn 16?
August.
Okay.
Time for a road trip to meet Dak. It's okay. Yeah. We'll go golf.
And so, yeah, correct. Sorry, no. I'm. See, this is why I'm now wondering if Australia's social media ban is actually working. I don't think so.
Nah. Snapchat tried to kick me off this morning. I'm like, yeah, get stuffed. I'll fix this up real quick.
I was trying to save you from that by giving you an extra year or two, but that's okay. You've put it on the record now, 15, and full of confidence. I love it. Bondi, who would you like to thank?
All my sponsors: Craig One Racing, Bond Motors Gun Guy, South Gun Guy Automotive, Gun Guy Tilt Trays, Karoo Enterprises, Riverina Go Kart Centre, and GSRC for doing these every night, every week.
I think you'll enjoy the last lap call, even though you're on the losing side of the ledger. I think you'll enjoy it when you go back and watch it. It always goes off the rails when Bondi and I are in fine form on the same night. Thank you. Go well. Enjoy. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
I think I have to go without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, to Ethan Johnson, because he has joined us here for a chat post-race. And it gives us an opportunity, A, to introduce you to the audience, mate, but B, to also throw a couple of questions in your general direction. We appreciated the use of the OnlyFans livery there, because it always lends itself to double entendres. But secondly, what was with the headlight flashing there? Was there a little glitch in your system, or was that deliberate?
Hello, everyone. I'm actually quite sorry about the paint. I completely forgot I had that one on. That one's my bad. No, I got the call out for the headlight flashing, and let's just say I wasn't too impressed about it, so I just stayed on it.
Okay, so paint the picture for me, because obviously you've stayed on it. You're not happy about it. We were debating here in Central Commentary about the etiquette there, of course, considering it's in the system, etc. The headlights are during acceleration. Everyone's going to have an opinion on this, but is that a quick fix in the settings so that when you're on the straight there, there's not that glitch, so that you're not constantly on the accelerator? Or was it deliberate on your part purely because of the out of disgust, because it was called in? Because there were points there where it was on the straights, you had no cars in sight. We'll get back to the other parts of this in a moment, but I want to get to the bottom of the headlight thing, because it seems as though it wasn't intentional at start, but as soon as it was called in, it became so. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. I think there were just a few normal kind of flashes of the headlights there. I was behind a few people. Nothing over the top. Just what I would normally do in an official. I have missed it in the rule book, if that is a thing. I definitely think that a headlight flashing rule is probably a bit excessive. So I wasn't all that happy with it. Didn't agree with it, so I just stayed on it to make a bit of a point.
Fair enough. And a point you did make as well, because let's be perfectly honest, you're in the Pro-Am split, but you've got the pace to go straight up into the Pro split. And obviously, for the benefit of everybody tuning in at home, we know that the Pro-Am split is where you land when you first arrive on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But we know that you've got a background in sim racing, because you don't just arrive here and go to the top of the summit by that margin, that comfortably, that quickly. So give us the Ethan Johnson story, and whether or not we're going to be seeing more of you in these corridors and these pylons, mate.
Yeah, for sure. I think I've had the sim for a couple of years now. I've done a bit of karting in my time. I'm now in cars. I think I just always spent a lot of time on the sim, worked hard at going quick. Try to be as much of a clean racer as I can. I don't try to provoke anything or really encourage bad driving or anything like that.
You mentioned car racing, and it seems as though, particularly in the last half a decade or so, ever since COVID really took hold of the world and strangled it, that there's a real place in the world for sim racing, for you guys to use it as a training ground, as just a way of getting some seat time, staying match fit. So talk to me about the importance of the complementary nature of real world versus sim world, and how that works into your preparation in any given week. But then also enlighten us on who introduced you to the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. What's the tie in here?
Yeah, for sure. I think sim to real world, I think it's a real thing. I think there's been a fair few successful people that have gone from the sim to real world and have a really good career. In terms of helping with before a race weekend, I think it does make a difference. I've learned a lot on the sim about telemetry and data and just a lot about a car, to be honest with you. Definitely than what I wouldn't have. So it's definitely been helpful. I definitely think it's a good thing. It's very, very different to to in real life, but it's definitely helpful and just keeps you race ready, really.
All right, very nicely done. All right, talk us through the two races there. Eli Donaldson, Greg Heaney still to come, folks. Stay with us. And Adam Lavis crunching numbers as we speak. So we'll hopefully be able to bring you some sort of intel there as to what's going on going into the second half of the season. And is that Bobby Camo lighting up now? Everybody's got an opinion on this. It's a contentious topic, so it's good that we're openly discussing this. The two races couldn't have gone much better. Race one, you dominated that, smashed it in. Secondly, talk to me through race two, because there were a couple of antsy moments. One, you spun yourself around, and there was a moment with Greg Heaney as well, and I'll get Greg's take on that in a few moments' time. Apart from that, and obviously there were a couple of people talking about the burnout straight after the finish line post-race as well in celebration. So you've given us a fair bit to talk about tonight, but from a pace standpoint, from a driving standpoint, you and Sandown seem to agree quite nicely.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a fun car track combo. I didn't have a setup. I think I just took a little bit of wing off and see how it went pretty good. I just like to touch on these guys in the comments, not to have a go at anyone or anything, but yeah, you're more than welcome to have your opinion on what you want, but at the end of the day, you're all just kind of keyboard warriors, and it doesn't help with the situation. I think there are a couple of incidents out there on track. I think I went for a bit of a late lunge on, I forget his name, sorry, but the guy in the R8, which is definitely on me. I definitely should have waited. I fully acknowledge that. I think then I believe I did got on the curb and rear locked and spun myself, but I'm not out there driving angry or anything like that. And I actually did get brake checked on the start finish line.
So, I was waiting for that because there was a fair bit of friendly fire going on with you and Dave Oliver at one point, and we were seeing some of that on screen, where you two were almost up against the Armco wall on the inside down the main straight there at one point. So there were a couple of people that I guess were trying to give as good as they were getting from you.
Yeah, for sure. I think there was a punt just there from him. Thoughts on most likely being bumped up into the Pro Split next week? I think the Pro-Am split will be happy to see the back of you, mate. But if you can bring this sort of pace to the table, there's no reason why you can't be competing for race wins next week when we get to Sebring. Thoughts on that circuit? And also, because there's 11 different cars to choose from, why just steer towards the Porsche? Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, I really do hope to be in the Pro Split next week, and there's not a really big penalty or a ban or something like that, because I'm not. It's not how I race most of the time. I think for Sebring, a little bit of history at Sebring, done a few laps there. Not sure what car I'll pick at Sebring yet. I'd pick the Porsche. It seemed pretty strong at the moment, just in general and around Sandown.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Let's also. Let me ask you this, because obviously GT3s is where you've arrived, and obviously had an impact immediately. What about the rest of the week? Are there any opportunities for you to jump in the sim and have a steer with us on any other of our offerings, be it Wednesday with the Supercars, Thursday with the Porsches, or is it just a GT3 focus for you?
No, sure, definitely other things. I think the Formula V really sticks out for me. I'll definitely have a crack at the supercars. I don't have every track on iRacing, so there's a few things I miss, but there's definitely other things. I think 86s are at St. Petersburg or something toward the end of this week, so definitely definitely try to race more, not just GT3s.
Yeah. All right, mate. Very nicely done. An interesting debut. There's no doubt about that. And looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table next week. Let's wrap this up by letting you take a moment to thank whoever you'd like to thank on the back of what was at the line, a double win. But as we say, there's probably an asterisk next to that incident with Greg Heaney. We haven't had anything come through from race control with regards to that. But at the line, you were the first to salute the judges. Who would you like to thank?
I mean, I'd just like to thank GSRC. I think they're a really, really good event, every day of the week other than Saturday and Sunday, 5 days a week, streamed. I think you guys do a really, really good job. That's all I've got really to thank, and everyone for mostly good racing.
Very nicely done. Ethan Johnson, a name to keep an eye on going forward on the platforms of the GSRC, and of course, as he's already alluded to, you might see him pop up in Real World Motorsport in your neck of the woods as well. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate you being a good sport, coming in here and having a chat with us. We do look forward to catching up with you as the season plays out, knowing full well that you're going to make a mark when you arrive up in the pro split next week. Looking forward to seeing you going toe-to-toe with Matty Dench and Richard Mitchum and Eli Donaldson, the guys that are established there. And, of course, it'll be interesting to see how big a footprint you can make over the course of 6 weeks, knowing that the championship's probably gone begging because you're a later rival, but it might set the form guide or go a long way to setting the form guide. Sorry, I'm just getting caught out in my own sentence structure right now. For next term, it'll be something that we take into consideration. So looking forward to how it all goes over the course of the next 5 weeks, mate. Thanks for that.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
And I tell you what, Formula V is going to be lively on Thursday night, isn't it? If he's there. Although I don't think, last I checked, they don't have headlights to flash in Formula V. So anyway, hey, let's straighten up here. We've got Greg Heaney standing by. We'll get his thoughts on that in just a moment. But let me go to Eli Donaldson first, because Eli's picked up a third and a first tonight, a double podium. And Eli, the way I'm looking at it at the moment, the final points haven't been finalised and tallied and everything else. The numbers preliminarily are being crunched at the moment. And it looks like you're splitting the round honours with the old 13-time champion.
Yeah, not bad. Finally found my rhythm in this season, so good to finally turn around and start backing up what I know I can put on the table.
Couple of non-classifieds in the first race and all that. Adam Lavis going through and crunching the numbers at the moment. But yeah, 27 starters. Good size field for Sandown, but it makes for a hectic racetrack, doesn't it? I guess the main things we should focus on here with you are race one, not being able to match the early pace of Bo Cubis, who was fastest in qualifying, fastest in and first across the line in race one. But secondly, it didn't go his way in race two. He's come home in 25th. Talk to us about the outright lap one pace, or one lap pace rather, if I can get my sentence structure right, of the Merc around Sandown, and how you felt about third in race one. But then secondly, a lot of racecraft required in race two on a circuit as small as this, 3.1 kilometres, 37 minutes, 32 laps. A lot can go on in that short a time frame, but you've been able to work your way through from the fifth row of the grid to, the fourth row of the grid, because it was third in race one, so eighth position for race two. You've been able to prevail with the W there.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult tonight, being that we've gone to a track that we don't have setups for because it's not in the official schedule, which is fine. Just means you've got to be a bit creative, so I think I ended up maybe using a combination of like an Adelaide and a St. Pete's setup, so worked out alright. One lap, or the 5 lap pace, the car just couldn't get it in the window quick enough. It was track temps were just a bit too cool for me to get the tyres up to the window where I wanted them, so I was actually still quite happy with P3 in qualifying, considering the lack of pace that I probably showed in practice. And the first race didn't really bother about the two out front, because not really who I'm fighting Rich and Dan, so was happy to them do whatever they want to do. I was just managing the gap behind, and then the second race, I don't think Bo gridded up, so it was more of just trying to pick your way through. Like you said, Sandown limited places to actually overtake, so just getting exits off the corners, especially up the long straights, to overtake into the corners, especially at turn one.
Indeed. Points are still being worked on at the moment. So let me ask you this, because you've led me down an interesting path, and this is for the benefit of everybody tuning in at home. This is why the post-race shows do stretch out occasionally, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a lot to try and pick apart with what's happened in Pro-Am and what you've seen on broadcast. We've been trying to do that as politically correctly as we can, obviously, with the heat that's coming in from the comments thread and obviously what we've been witnessing. But then also, these guys, you know, you might have a set idea of questions of what you're going to ask, but then someone like Eli pops in and says, well, I'm only worried about A and B. That bodes well for me to then go and ask you, how do you deal? Because it happens all the time, right? This is not normally a question I'd be asking in week 5, but we seem to be seeing more people join mid-season than what we've had in recent times, mate. It makes it hard, doesn't it? Because you've got a couple of different things to weigh up here. Each individual round result, it's clear, though, that you're thinking big picture with regards to the championship. And no doubt, it puts a little bit of strain on the brain trying to remember the mathematical equations at stake here and remembering where both Richard Mitchum and Matty Dench are in relation to you, and also, of course, Daniel Edmonds as well. So how do you go about planning for that? Because it can be easily lost once the red mist descends and once the gloves are on and the helmet visor's down and everything else and you're out there racing. But what's the plan of attack? Because you've got Denchy on a charge, obviously not necessarily factoring in the championship equation at the moment, but he's going to be there in a race-by-race capacity. You've got other blokes that are coming in like Bo, like Ethan, as we saw there earlier. I don't see any reason why he won't be in the pro split next week. How do you go about planning for that, and how do you then go and try and maintain your composure and focus on the goalposts and the task at hand, knowing full well that those guys are going to be a thorn in the side for the next 5 weeks?
Yeah, it's sort of hard. You gotta. I guess it's just if you do it enough, and we do enough of this sort of racing that we can sort of you sort of get to a point where you don't really worry about the guys in front of you. Like, for instance, Bo and Dench, they're so far out of it after the first 3 or 4 rounds that it's not really worth factoring them in at the moment. Obviously, there's still drop rounds and all that to factor in, but you see it in the point standings, the three people that are trying to race for this championship at the moment are me, Rich, and Dan. So yeah, you just play it on a race by race basis. If you're in front of them, you're in front of them. If you're behind them, obviously try and get as close to behind them as you can. But there's only so much that you can control inside your bubble. It's what you can't control outside, like external factors. If you worry about what could happen, then you're probably going to focus too much on a result you can't achieve.
Speaking of external outside factors, Nathan Michael's just taken the lead in the comment for the night too, by the way. Very nicely done. I love it. I'm sitting here trying to remain somewhat calm and composed, but that broke me. That's great. I love that. Well done, Nathan. We're having a lot of fun here tonight on the platforms of the GSRC. Eli, it's great to hear from you, mate, and really nice to see how you've hit your strap over the last 3 weeks with the Merc. There wasn't a lot to take away from round 2 at Magello with 5th place, but first, second, first, third, first. 5 consecutive races on the podium, mate. 6 podiums for the season so far. And Travis has a party, reckons that's the funniest thing he's read all day as well. And Trav's had a hairy night in race control as well. He's in there consulting with Glenn Arnott and Martin Lipsky at the moment. Hello, boys. Glad you're enjoying the show. Mate, the halfway mark, you are the points leader. It's looking really good for you. But I've got some bad news to share with you, and that is that based on the final point standings now, and Adam Lavis has hit the send button on this, second for the round tonight, first for Dench with the 2 seconds, 103 played, you 101, and Daniel Edmonds 94. Richard Mitchum on 89 points for the night. Looks as though he's gone 4th on points, and that sets us up nicely for the second half of the season. 534 plays Richard Mitchum, 528 for Million Esport 1-2. Daniel Evans 495, and then daylight to everybody else. Luke King on 398, 365 for Jason Wilkinson, and then Rodney Gollan on 354. That's what I was saying there earlier, folks, about this being a very top-heavy manufacturer, very sparse setup. Only 4 different manufacturers in that top 10. Sean Dorey, not on the grid tonight, 288, is in 10th place, still in the Aston, but everything else is Merc, Porsche or Ford in that top 10 at the moment. So you're the leader as we turn the corner and head for the home stretch, mate. We're halfway through. How are you feeling about Sebring 60 minutes next week? And obviously, if you're going to be beaten by anybody, you'd much rather it be a teammate like Richard Mitchum. And there's a name that is due for a title, but it would be a shame to see that come at the expense of you potentially joining Harry Lillis and Matty Dench and a few others that have been able to successfully convert your performance into back-to-back titles. Your thoughts at halfway as we turn the corner and head for home?
Still a lot of racing to go. We've got we've still got 2 sprints and 2 regular rounds. So there's 6 races and then an enduro to finish at Le Mans. So still a lot of racing. Sebring in the wet. I don't know what it is with me and wet racing, but I seem to go to another level. So I would like to hope that my chances next week are quite good. But like I said, I can only control what's inside my bubbles. Magny-Cours, I know Rich is going to be missing for Magny-Cours, so
okay.
Sort of just...
Well, that's news to us, but that's good. Yep.
You have to go Canada for the F1, so good reason to miss it.
He had to, yes, okay, yep,
yes,
good. I like it.
And then I've sort of got to juggle between there's potentially a new NASCAR league that's going to be running on a Monday night that I might need to qualify for, so sort of juggling between drop rounds, making sure that I can try and defend it. I said to Rich tonight, I said I don't know if I'm going to be able to defend it back to back, because if I have to put some focus into this other thing that runs on a Monday, I might have to drop out. So like I said, control what I've got at the moment and play it by ear.
That's what, we could have this conversation with so many different drivers, mate, but it's nice to chat to a pro driver like you and maybe pick apart the process, what goes on in terms of when you're planning your year and what you're putting your mind and focus towards. And we've had this with Porsches and supercars in the past, as you're no doubt aware. Obviously, I want to clarify too, just going back to Richard Mitchum's thing, I've never had to once put up my hand and say to the GSRC in 6 and a bit years of broadcasting for them, sorry boys, I'm just going to be on the other side of the world as a playing spectator. Banksy did that last year. He went to Le Mans. I had to fill in for him on a Wednesday night. I don't envisage that that's going to change anytime soon. That if it does, I'll let you know. The budget's just not there at the moment to go globe-trotting, but Mum wants to do Europe in a couple of years, so who knows. But in saying this, right, so it's immediately come to our attention that there's other priorities coming your way. How hard is it when you're planning your year out, mate, and you see that there are many different leagues and championships and servers and whatever else that appeal to you? What's the process that you go through to decide, okay, I'm going to set, knowing that there's also real world limitations, there's personal constraints, commitments. We can only do so much at any given time. We can't overcommit. We pay the price if we do. What's the process that Eli Donaldson goes through when he's working out what he's going to throw his hat into the ring for, knowing full well that obviously the club is here 40 weeks a year putting racing on. It's probably a step below those pro races like the Logitech G Pros and the NASCAR that you're talking about and the Porsche Pro Invitationals and the like of the world. What's the process that you go through when you work out what your racing schedule is going to be?
Well, the last year and a bit, this was probably the GT3 league to be in. So I put a fair bit of focus into this. This was my main Monday night, get on, do as 2 or 1 race or whatever it was and work my way up. And you saw... I think it was probably late last year or middle of last year, we had the ESS Vermilion collaboration where we collabed, and I think my results from there really skyrocketed. And then sort of got lucky last season that obviously with V8 Pro and Porsche Pro came out, that I wasn't really interested in those 2 leagues, so I didn't really put much focus into it, and I was sort of committed here from a championship standpoint. And it's sort of, I've never had it. I've sort of got a little interest in supercars, but I just don't have the talent to drive it. So, and I finally got to the point in the GT3 where I'm pretty quick in it, and I can compete on a level that I'm happy to compete at. So I'm not ruling GT3 Championship back-to-back out yet. I'm going to have to talk to the higher-ups at Vermilion and see what my sort of leeway with NASCAR, or this NASCAR league will be, because I would like to participate that and go out on a W here on the championship, but it purely just comes down to timings and all that. Like if I need to be there to qualify for a league, then I'm going to have to be there, and I'm going to have to put this back. But it purely just depends on what happens. Still, like I said, 5 weeks to go. I've got at least 2 drop rounds in the bag if I want to use them. But I mean, ideally, I'd like to not use them at all and have the results, if I don't have the result, get null and voided, basically.
Let me come back to the back half of our season in just a moment, mate. Because it is an enviable position that you find yourself in at the moment. There's a lot of other drivers across our 3 servers that would love to have both their drop rounds there ready to deploy at any given moment. Some of them don't. You do. Based on a near faultless first half of the season, 5 podium round finishes, 6 podium results out of 7 races. So it's been near on faultless from you. It's been terrific to watch. Now, let me ask you this: because we know you're a versatile operator and a versatile performer. So what's the appeal with regards to NASCAR? Why now?
Just something different. It was a bit disappointing that GT Pro got dropped from the calendar this year for Porsches, because I actually really got myself in a good window where if GT Pro was to come around for a second year, I did qualify for season 1, but didn't get laid down, but we just sort of decided to pull the pin on the entry after the first round with the car choices that we had. But I was sort of rearing myself up, getting ready to do that and putting a lot of effort into that. And then they let it go for Porsche Cup, which is completely understandable. You look at Porsche Cup and it's off its head at the moment with officials and the popularity at the moment. So it makes sense to get in on the popularity while it's there. And GT3, there's not really much globally for it other than we've got IVRA, but like I said, probably not in the window to do IVRA at the moment. So GT3 sort of being not fading, because I love GT3, but with just the challenge of it not being there as much. NASCAR, I always have had a little soft spot for NASCAR in my heart. It's probably the right time to give that a crack. There's some good guys that are they're going to line up in this new season, and like I've said in here many times before, if you're not there from day one and consistent from day one, you sort of shoot yourself in the foot, didn't it? Giving everyone a head start. So yeah.
With apologies to Greg Heaney, I've just got a message. I just noticed that there's a message from you at the top of my Discord inbox there, mate, and I'll get to that when I get to you in just a few moments. And full disclosure to everybody at home, because of the nature of Discord and the way in which it just rattles off, ding, 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 notifications in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, I have them turned off on the PC, because that it's just a distraction for the entirety of the broadcast if it's sitting there. So I'll get to Greg in a moment, but let me finish with you, Eli. Enviable position, both drop rounds at your disposal. Thoughts on Sebring, because that's the next stop.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Like I said, in the rain, so should be quite fun. I enjoy racing in the rain. Like I said, I don't know why something in my mind clicks, or how I drive. Brands Hatch last week was sort of the same. I sort of could just put the car where I wanted it and drive it how I wanted it. So looking forward to it. Back into the calendar. Magny-Court's good. St. Pete's going to be really fun. I'm still disappointed Adam didn't put Adelaide in here, but that's for next time. But I like the street racing, because the street racing makes it A, tighter, B, less margins for error. And then we got Red Bull Ring, which will be fun, and then Le Mans to finish. So overall, this calendar got really strong back end cars in a good window, with this balance of performance update that we had for the DTM. So we will keep on fighting and go all the way into the wire if I have to.
Already Sean Benici roaring his disapproval of precipitation for next week. And no doubt you'll be going and having a look at the tape from Pro-Am to get an idea of what you're going to be dealing with if you encounter Ethan on the circuit next week, Eli?
No, I was just watching it while I was waiting to have a chat to you. It's a bit childish. But seriously, like, if you need to use headlights to pass people, it's a bit of a joke. Like, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, it's in the name. Like, come on. It's not very gentlemanly of you to flash a headlight. Especially, I understand being a Pro-Am and you're quick enough to be in front of them, but you're flashing your lights because you think that's what you're doing. Officials, it's not going to float in Pro. So it's not a tool to pass somebody. It's more of a, at the end of the day, you're probably putting strain on someone's PC that's running graphics as minimal as possible so that they can get the most performance out of their computer. So, if anything, you're doing a disjustice to people by doing it. So, like you said, it's in the rule book that we don't do it. It's there as a tool that you can use it for some people if you think they're holding you up or they've got a slowdown and they're blocking you. But at the end of the day, there is a general rule there that you don't do it because it's not very sportsmanlike.
No. And Bobby Camo actually chimed in quite, well, aptly, right on time. They're right on cue. He said, you'll have to put out an epileptic seizure warning on your broadcast if that keeps going on. And I thought he was bang on the mark with that comment as well. Eli, as always, mate, you've been very good with your time. We appreciate that. We weren't broadcasting the Pro Split tonight, but we always like to get somebody's take on it, and who better than you at the moment as the leader at halfway, as we say, 6 points to the good on Richard Mitchum, who is there or thereabouts. Canada might be his stumbling block, but as you say, pretty good excuse to not be in the sim rig, being a spectator at one of the great Grand Prix on the calendar, and straight after the Indy 500 in a couple of weeks' time as well. We're looking forward to that. There's Greg's unfortunate moment. We're hearing from him about that momentarily. But Eli, appreciate that, mate. Go well for the rest of this week, and we cannot wait to see what the second half of the season brings. You couldn't ask for more in the first half of the season, and as I said, let's hope you don't have to deploy those drop rounds, but at least you're in a position to lean upon them should you have to, and not everybody's that lucky. So enjoy the privilege of that, and enjoy the rest of the week as well.
Thank you very much. I'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Sebring, the next stop. All right, let's go to Mr. Heaney. Let's bring in Whiskey Business Racing's main man at this particular point in time. Fair bit to pick apart and all of that, Greg. Apologies, I didn't see your message. Is it broadcastable or not? Do I need to go and have a look at that while you talk?
No, that was a gentle nudge to wrap somebody up within the...
yes. I think there's another message in my inbox on Facebook with regards to that, but we'll get back to that. That'll be an off-air discussion. Let's... well, I was going to say, we had to wrap a couple of people up tonight because there's been a fair bit of heat in here, Greg, and you encountered it on the circuit as well. Talk to me about that run-in with Ethan Johnson. That was unlucky for you and put pay to any chance of a result in that second race for you?
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. I had a good turn of pace today. Put a practice session up yesterday, and turns out I was within a tenth and a half of one Matt Dench. So I'm like, there's something wrong here. That's not right. And yeah, I managed to hold on to 8th. I think I qualified 6th or 7th in race 1, and managed to hold on to 8th for race 1. I'm like, yep, no, this is good. I'm liking this. It'll put me near the front for race 2. And
yep.
I know, obviously, Matty and Adam were behind me off the start of race 2, and they could see that Ethan was coming. And after the incident happened, they're like, they'd already basically decided that if he was anywhere near them, they were going to pit by the time he had caught them. And yeah, it was as soon as he was within a car length to 2 car lengths on lap 6, it's like you don't need to do that. And echoing Eli's comments, it's in the name. It's the Gent Sim Racing Club. There are a few other points of note that I probably can't go into that have already been discussed within the committee chat around tonight. So we shall see what happens and what comes of that. But I have had a message passed through to me from head race control, not Paul Wood, but one Travis as a party.
Yes.
Penalties have been applied, and Ethan is no longer the winner of probably race 1, maybe, definitely race 2, but possibly also race 1.
Poppy. That we'll follow that up in a moment, and if you don't mind, let's have a chat off air as well, just because from
Depending
a commentary
how quickly
standpoint,
we can get wrapped up.
Yeah, that's right. For sure. And I've got to get to Dave Oliver as well, who's been kind enough to join us at the back end here as well, mate. And hopefully we've got enough time to squeeze him in. That'll depend on what Dan Yeoman's threshold is at the back end here.
If not, we'll chat tomorrow.
Well, for sure. Because I was going to say, Dave is a late arrival in the booth for the post-race show here. And Bobby Camo just mentioning the donut as well from the post-race celebration. Talk to me about the rest of the stable too, mate, because that was a great night in some parts and then a frustrating night in others. Good to see Dane Snadden out there, but a couple of trip-up moments. You've got good representation here. Sean Benici in championship contention, Matt Schmidtke in championship contention, Dane Snadden, and you were sitting, well, Dane Snadden sitting up in the top 10 here as well. I want my legacy to be the new Royal Creator because of something I've done, says Rog. Very nicely done. Yes, I was going to say there'll be a couple of amendments to the rule book in the coming 7 days, I'd imagine. But more broadly, mate, obviously representatives across all three splits. Will Yarwood had a little bit of trouble in race 1 in the AM split from what we saw, but give us the overview of the night from the Whiskey Business Stable standpoint, please.
Well, to be honest, it was apart from my little incident, whatever small incident I think Dane got caught up in, wasn't actually a bad night. I know Ben got caught up in the incident coming out of Dandenong Road. He had a small one there. But yeah, no, all in all, it wasn't a bad night. I haven't actually had a chance to chat to Will and Timmy in the AM split. Apparently, Andrew was touring Dandenong Road in reverse within one of the first opening laps in one of the races. Luke said he was Luke King, that is, said he was on his way into Dandenong Road, and he briefly looked at his rearview mirror, and there's the back of Andrew's Corvette instead of the front. So he's obviously had a small slip up somewhere there and ended up pointing in the wrong direction. But so we'll see how I'll have to have a chat and see how the rest of the boys went. But no, definitely a good representation across all three splits for us. So.
It's been a very loose sort of night here on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Ladies and gentlemen, backwards down Dandenong Road adds to that. Interesting too, because we were waiting for a couple of big ones at Dandenong Road tonight. We didn't get anything that resembled chaos or carnage. In fact, more single vehicle incidents than anything down at that part of the circuit tonight. But in saying that, mate, obviously frustrating for you because you had no choice but to tow, and that put pay to any chance of a result in race 2.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if I hadn't towed it, it would have been very difficult to get it back to the pits from where I was on the track, and being that unfortunately where I'd actually ended up, it was just a case of having to wait for almost the entire grid to cycle past me before I could actually get it out of there. So well done to everybody for actually not taking my nose off and making the situation worse for themselves with me sitting there. I was hoping that it wasn't completely stuffed, but yeah, as soon as I started to creep it forwards, I could feel it was not pitching, it was just steering the wrong way, and it's like, yep, no, that's a tow. So took the tow, and unfortunately a couple of laps down with a minute and a bit tow from where I was, and then take the fuel. Unfortunately, I was about 2 laps too early to be able to get enough fuel in to run to the end from there. So it is what it is, and took the extra stop and ran it out. So
at this point in time, I might just cue Dan Yeoman to bring up the race 1 and 2 results from the Pro-Am split on screen when I get to Dave Oliver, because as you know, timing's now doing its thing of showing a live replay of the timing screen rather than a static result of how it finished. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that. Yeah, ticking time bombs indeed. Everywhere by the sounds of it tonight. I I don't miss this when we go on summer break for 6 weeks. I don't know why. Did no one in AM come in for an interview? Well, no, I don't think so. We had Bondi from Pro, we had Eli from Pro, and we had everyone else from Pro Am. So no one from AM making their way in for an interview. Hopefully we'll change that in due course. John, of course, you're not going to crow too much about your DNF in race 2, but well done on the win in race 1. The AM race 2 results, by the way, folks. By the way, there will be some promotion and relegation going on, and I think Jono Harris is going to be the first one of those going up into Pro-Am. Sean Benici reckons Matt Schmidtke's been promoted to Pro. I'm yet to see all that paperwork confirmed across my desk. First in the second race was Luke Wegener. Second was the great man William Yarwood. Great to see him recover after a frustrating opening race. And then third was Dale Sharp. 98 points for the round. Martin Davis, who was fourth in that second race. 92 apiece for Dale Sharp and Luke Wegener. Dale Sharp, 474, leads Luke Wegener, 405. 403 for Alan McDonald. Logan Griffin, 383. And Todd Suter, 381. So too Tim Watson. Gregory, aside from all the extra admin work and committee work that's going to happen now as a result of everything else that's happened tonight, give us your thoughts on the rest of the week and how it all plays out, please.
Supercars on Wednesday at St. Pete. The first wheels turned in anger around there. So that should be interesting. And then on to where are we? I can't remember where we are on Friday. I'll have to have a look at it again. For the some GTP action again. So, and then I think I may or may not have been roped into Watkins Boot. With the redone track limits at the bus stop entry as well, so that should make it a little bit more interesting. And I may or may not have been roped into driving an LMP2 on the weekend for 6 hours.
Copy. 6 hours of what, please?
Spa.
Okay, nice. Real World's just been there, of course. Now it's the Sim World's turn, and the Real World goes to the Nürburgring for 24. So exciting times. Big year of motorsport, busy year of motorsport. Greg, thank you. Hang tight. Just quickly on Elo's comment. No, not quite 600 laps. Not yet. And Adelaide was in excess of 700. Yes, I thought so. Oh, dear. How good was it? Hang with me tight, mate. Dave Oliver, I don't know how much of what's gone on you've heard or what you want to divulge, but no doubt I want to ask you about that incident with Ethan down the main straight. You guys were almost in the Armco Schumacher Barrichello-esque, and it felt as though you wanted to hold your own more than you were actually able to when he caught up with you the second time.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I watched it in my mirror.
We know he's a soft, cuddly, teddy bear, marshmallow type character at the best of times, ladies and gentlemen, but you had to get your mongrel on for a bit there.
Yeah, may as well. It's a sprint round. I can't always feel safe, so I might as well actually, get the elbows out every once in a while.
Indeed, and it didn't seem to hurt, mate. It didn't have an impact on your overall results. 5th and 3rd for the night. Good running.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure how I was going to go. Because the front guys here can be quick if you're not on it, or if you're slightly off the mark kind of thing. So I ended up mid-pack in quali, mid-10, which was great. Got a good start, and then just for that first sprint had a really good, tight, close battle with Smitty, Adam, and new guy Kyle. So it was pretty much, trying not to, tap the bumpers and all that kind of stuff. There was a few little Morse codes here and there, but it was just a case of, because we're in the draft and stuff, it was just a matter of just waiting for a mistake, and didn't really happen. And then race 2, got a decent start, and then it was just obviously there was a few guys that had unfortunately had spun off in that the first handful of laps with cold tires and other close battles, and it was just obviously we had Ethan coming through, and You know, he got the old epileptic flashes going.
Yes. Yes.
So, and especially now since they updated this car, it is actually, you know, a lot quicker flash compared to what it used to be. So, like, I understand he's quick and all that, and that's fine. You know, if you're gonna catch up to me, you know, it's gonna be all good. But if you know, flash the lights like that, you know, everyone's just gonna make it a bit harder to get through. Hence, you know, the Schumacher pit fence thing. So, and then yeah, there was another, you know, little one where he's gone into one and just because of he was on the tighter line and just gave him a bit of a nudge and he went over the thing and I backed off, let him through, and then he's cut back and nearly taken the bumper off. Yeah, this one here. So he's a bit of a bump there, and then I've backed out of it, and then he's done the really sharp cut across there. So it was, you know, tight racing, but yeah. But other than that, it was a, you know, good result. Was it fifth in the first race, and then probably was it third on the road for race 2? So it might come up as
might change.
Hopefully to race might be a P2. See what happens. But yeah, other than that, you know, pretty happy.
Didn't get to mention David Baz. Nice recovery from pit lane start to 10th in that second race as well. And just having a look at the points being crunched preliminarily at the moment, yeah, it looks as though Schmitty, Baz, Lavis, and Oliver on 86 points, 87 for Jordan Pianazzola. So at this point, assuming that Johnson's not in the equation and is being promoted straight up to pro, the points are being done based on that. Fifth for the round for you, D. Oliver, which isn't too bad. Those incidents aside, that running aside, rest of the night, happy with it?
Yeah, it was good, especially after missing the first 2 rounds. I just gotta, you know, just be consistent and then just try and just, you know, bang in those consistent finishes. Unfortunately, last week, I was doing it right, but I had, funnily enough, on both of the last laps had issues, so that dropped me down a little bit. But it's just a matter of, you know, yeah, just being consistent now, and you know, starting to get to grips a bit more with the Porsche, which is nice. I did hear someone say that there might be some moisture at Sebring next week, so that will hopefully, you know, the Porsche might love that. So I'll see what happens, and yeah, go from there.
Sebring, from your standpoint, rain or not, circuit that you like?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I seem to go alright there, especially with the longer races, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if it's a sprint or if it's a 1 hour race or not. So if it's a 1 hour race, that, you know, potentially will you know, shift towards my wheelhouse a little bit with the longer race, and yeah, see what happens. It's been a while since obviously, you know, driven a Porsche around there, so once I kind of, you know, get used to it and that, hopefully you know, I'll get to grips of it pretty quick, especially with the bumps and stuff. You know, especially, you know, you'll potentially need the Baja setup for all the bumps.
Indeed, very nicely done. How's the rest of the week looking, please?
Not too sure. I'll see. Might jump in for the V8s or the Porsches again later in the week and see what happens, and then yeah, go from there.
Very lively sort of night here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and even Thorn Wiggett chiming in there saying that race was a different sort of vibe to what we're used to. Very good stuff, mate. We've enjoyed that. Thanks for stopping on by late in the piece here. Here we go. Can't wait to race on a track that doesn't have mountains for Kern. Very
actually,
good.
Yeah, that said, the setup, when I was like trying to think of setups, I initially thought of a Sebring setup, and I was just like, I tried it for a couple laps, and I ended up I'm probably divulging secrets here, but it doesn't really matter, but I ended up going with a Adelaide setup, which, you know, kind of helps with the curbs and stuff. It actually rode the curbs a bit nicer. So that's why I was able to kind of commit through the turns 2 and 3 and the last little chicane coming onto the front straight.
I was going to say, with the dirty laundry being aired tonight, I don't think divulging one more secret is going to hurt anybody, Dave. Not at all. Hey, very nicely done, mate. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Stick around because I reckon it's going to be fun when we get off air here. Final thoughts from Dan Yeaman, who's done a magnificent job pushing the buttons again tonight, although pushing very different buttons to what everyone else has been chatting, pushing in the chat thread here, Dan. It's going off. It's absolute chops. Final thoughts from you all. It's been another interesting night in the booth.
Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, my job feels like it's a case of, as you said, we avoid the button pressing in chat. Leave that to our viewers to make of that what they will. And then if they get too naughty, we give them a slap on the wrist. Regardless of all of that, I mean, look, some good racing, as you said. We're talking a summary tonight. 1-9 with Braden and Aiden, still untouchable in Wings and Slicks F3 category, and boss Ethan Johnson at the pace tonight. Now there's a whole lot of question marks overhanging that, which blunts that. And to be honest, not particularly impressed by his excuse reasoning for the choices made. And so I echo the sentiments of Eli and others that have also echoed them here in this post-race interviews tonight. So I hope we don't see additional action going forward. Otherwise, the racing here in Pro-Am that we did watch, as well as the AM split start tonight, pretty solid here, despite the risk that comes with Sandown and the urge to get a move on, perhaps, that can be present if you get stuck in a train.
And I think the other thing too, mate, a very good combination, because Spa and Formula 3 into Sandown and GT, it just gelled nicely. The threes were good. Again, particularly that last lap battle, and well done to Jonathan Harris as well. Trav has a party asking for a medical discharge. Do we have a doctor in the house here on the platforms of the GSRC? I'm not sure. We'll get someone to you swiftly, Trav, for some attention, maybe a certificate, maybe a day off work. I don't know. If nothing else, Greg Heaney will fix you out with a very stiff glass of whiskey, I'm sure. Very nicely done. Thank you to you, Dan Yeaman. Adam Lavis here Wednesday night. We look forward to that. When we go to the streets of St. Petersburg, let's quickly wrap this up. A big thanks to all of the great people that make it possible for us to do what we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. There's what's coming your way. The server opens at 7 o'clock tomorrow night with the Skip Barbers at Barber, the Barber Double, the Skip and the Circuit. 15 and 25-minute races there. Committee's Choice, Week 5. Looking forward to that. Good luck to all competing. Wednesday night, we're on broadcast. Adam Lavis is here, 7:25 Eastern Standard Time. Our 40-minute race first up. And by G, did they turn it on last week? Kota, if they bring that sort of entertainment to St. Petersburg, that 40 minutes will be compulsory viewing for our our inaugural tear around the St. Petersburg Grand Prix circuit for the Toyota 86 Challenge. First up with thanks to merch.tgsrci.com. That gets underway 7:30. Immediately followed by sprint racing of the supercars. Third sprint round of the season, but second of the 2-race sprint format modes, because we've got 2 super sprints in this series of 3 races. It's important to note. 15 and 25 minutes the journey there. St. Petersburg, the venue, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Hope you can join us for that. Thursday night, lock this one in the diary. Updates from Women's State of Origin as it happens, update from the AFL as well, but this is appointment viewing. 5 races on the program, ladies and gentlemen. You beauty. This is going to be an all-out night of sprint racing. Tin Top Open Wheel doubleheader. Open Wheels lead us off at the main course. Porsches finishes with dessert. Compulsory viewing. Looking forward to that. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and 15 minutes the journey for the 3 Formula V races from the short Nürburgring Grand Prix layout. Now, that is the pre-2002 edition of the short circuit, so you don't go through the arena section. It's the chicane at turn 1, which is a lot tighter than what it used to be in 2001, of course, but it's the short circuit without the arena section, without the Schumacher S.
Call it the N24 turn 1-2 complex. I'd use the actual German name, but it doesn't fit in the space I've got left to actually write the name. So
and
apologies to all
German's not my
those.
strong point either, so I'm glad you didn't. That's very good.
So apologies for those who are hoping to see Kusan Bindung written there instead of short. But yeah.
7:25, that one gets us underway. Then we go to Donington Park in the UK, the Grand Prix circuit there, 10 laps, 17 laps the journey, latest round of the Porsche Cup. The open split first up for race 1, the pro split race 2, the elite split, so looking forward to that. We've already detailed it with Greg Heaney. GSRC GEC, Gentlemen's Endurance Championship. Stress the word gentleman after tonight. Watkins Glen Boot, 75 minutes, 200 kilometres, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Friday night. If we can get that one to you live, it'll be a worthwhile venture, actually, because Watkins Glen never puts on a dull show. 8:25 Eastern if we can get it live, but we're a bit down on personnel at the moment, and there's a bit of heat on me apparently, so there might be someone coming for my job yet, who knows. We'll spin Friday night for the car of choice for Saturday night. Mountain Men, 32 laps there, 200 kilometres the journey. They will spin the wheel to determine the car of choice for that race Saturday night on Friday night, and the race itself Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're missing Joe Baldwin at the moment, aren't we, as he's getting the MBN on in his new place over there in WA, but we trust that Truck as well on the move is going smoothly for him as well. Monday night next week, second half of the season gets underway. I'll be coming to you live from Cessnock for this one. At this stage, Dan Yeaman's with me. Formula 3 from Suzuka first up, 30-minute race there. The back half of that season is very top-heavy with sprint racing or the 45-minute enduro. So once we get through that next week, back into sprint mode for Formula 3 for a couple of weeks, and looking forward to that. 30 minutes the journey, Suzuka the venue, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Then back to 60-minute racing for the GT3 Pro Series from Sebring, also with thanks to Waste Options. We are focusing on the Pro Split for the first time since last week's feature. And coverage kicks in at 8:25 Eastern. 8:30 is when the qualifying session is scheduled to close. So a few minutes after that, the green flag flies for an hour of racing. If you want to get involved and be a part of this circus and everything that we do here, the fun of the fair, and also those nights that leave you squirming in your seat a little bit, merch.tgsrci.com is where you're to go to grab some GSRC paraphernalia. Race.tgsrci.com is where you go to get your hands on all the information associated with this club, the who, what, when, where, why, and how to get involved, where to sign up, what's on and when it's on, and also all the information. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to be alerted as to when we're on air broadcasting all this magnificent entertainment, which even after 25 seasons, or this is the halfway point of the 25th season, still keeps us on the edge of our seat. Hope you enjoyed it tonight. We've enjoyed it as well. Wolf Thornweg calling for subtitles. I don't think we're going down that avenue tonight because we haven't got a broadcast deal with SBS. On behalf of Daniel Yeaman and the broadcast commentary production team here, thanks for your company tonight. Very big night of action. It's going to be spoken about for days and weeks after the fact. On behalf of all the crew here, the broadcast commentary and production team, I'm Zach Caban. Until we see you on Wednesday night for the St. Pete doubleheader, its first appearance on the GSRC broadcast. Our first trip to the newest venue on the platform. We can't wait for that. But until then, cricket coming up tonight, EPL tomorrow morning if you fancy some overnight sport, if you're an insomniac like me. If not, enjoy your sleep, enjoy your Tuesday at work. We'll see you Wednesday night. Until then, have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.